no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path. If you want it bad, I'm gonna show you where it's at. Yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done. I'll be number one, working hella hard until I get just what I want. Yeah, rise just like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooters gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I won. Yeah, always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. Grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to
upper bracket ang Team Secret at syempre isang formidable opponent ang makakatapat nila dito, Honey Glaze. It's gonna be PRX. Matagal na panahon na nagkatapat itong dalawang teams. The first time, PRX went for a 2-0 against Team Secret, pero binaliktad nila yung laban na yan.
Kaya nga nakakapantindig, balahibo lahat ng mga pwede nating makita throughout the next couple of rounds na makikita natin in this game. Asan pa, yung unang mapa na lalaroan ng mga teams natin, pareha sila talagang commendable sa mga laro nila in this game. Pero syempre, Taylor, tingin mo ba talagang magkakaroon ng edge dito ngayon ang Team Secret? Lalo na't ngayon na we have here the battle between PRX.
Ang pinagkaiba na lang dito yung difference ng dalawang J eh. Nagsisimula sa pangalang o sa letrang J. Dahil the last time na nagkatapat sila, wala pang Jeremy, wala pang Jing noong mga panahon na yon. At this time around, syempre, this time, magkakatapat sila, of course, with an additional member right here for the side of Team Secret. Depende sa mapa. And aside from that, for PRX, ang isang mainstay nila dito sa 5-man roster nila is of course Jing as well. So dito malalaman, dito na magkakaalaman guys kung sino ang makakapunta sa Masters. Pinost ko na nga pag nanalo ang Team Secret dito, mamimigay na ako pang bundle.
Yun Hindi man ako makakasali doon sa giveaway ng mga bundle na yun. Pero ito na guys, ang pagkakataon para manimulan na kaagad ng Team Secret itong pagkakataon. Uy, nakachamba si Forsaken. Pero makakabawi naman din dito si Win. Sabay exit lang din kaagad. Win the dash. We have here the Paranoia as well para ma-hold yung mga members natin ngayon for PRX trying to get inside of the sideboard com dito, trying to survive at Mike as well. Pero makakakuha pa rin naman dito ng pangalawang butas. Si Burcom, one member remaining, dubstep na lang din ang natitira. Shorty lang din ang gamit niya.
Ganda ng pull ni Mind Freak doon, pero si dubstep na nga lang natitira dito. With the Headhunter, merong taong sa Jenny, meron din naman nasa Hell, pero tatlo pa nga ang dapat niyang tapatan. It's not gonna be enough. At alam naman natin, notorious na ang Team Secret pagdating sa mga pistol round. Pag hindi nila nakukuha ang pistol round, nananalo sila pagdating sa series. Kaya huwag kayong mag-alala. Panguna pa lang yan o pang-umpisa pa lang ng Team Secret dito. But the utility usage of PRX, especially for this round, has been phenomenal. Aside from that, kahit madaming na-detect sa recon talaga, hindi kakayanin even with a spray down from the Frenzy, yung dalawang members na nakatingin sa Hell. Pero another new round para sa Team Secret. This time, syempre on the defense, makakakita tayo ng shorty. Kasi pag umentry ang mga yan, maaaring magulat sila dito. Pero knowing na nasa kanan na rin si Borkum, Jing trying to spray down at least kahit pa paano. He swings out and Jing was able to take on the kill. 5 versus 4, make that a 5v3 as Forsaken was able to take 1. Kaso nga lang napasabog dito. Si Kuya mo Dispenser, may isa pang bubagsak. That is gonna be Wits. The last remaining player now is Jesse Bash to finish and close things off for this second round. Ang bilis maglaro ng dalawang teams.
Pabilisan na lang din talaga, pero ngayon nakakabahan ng PRX. Dahil nasabi mo nga rin, Taylor, talagang kita na rin talaga sa players sa Team Secret ngayon na kahit mga ganito klaseng mga skirmishes pagdating sa mga pistol round talagang hindi nagwawagi. Pero kabahan na yung PRX dahil yun ang gusto mangyari ngayon ng Team Secret. By round na for them, they have their Vandals rifles, pero mayroon pa rin naman ditong bonus round na ang PRX. This is really doable for Team Secret. Lalo na't ngayon, siguro magiging place low na lang ang gagawin ngayon na PRX.
Slow play. Nakabili na nga dito ang Team Secret. Pop flash mula sa side ng PRX. Just to make sure, Forsaken, makakasilip siya na maayos. Binabatuhan na rin ng utilities. Lahat ng magiging choke point na pwedeng hawakan ng Team Secret using the Prowler will give the info at least na may nag-aabang rin sa lane. Aldron mula kay Jesse Vash. This will spot probably one player that's gonna be Forsaken only. Habang yung iba, ginagapang na nga rin yung rotations nila papunta sa A-site kung sakasakali man. But Forsaken, going down in the hands of Dubstep here. Apat pa rin ang kailangan patayin ng Team Secret. Wala pang entry na nangyayari for the side of PRX right now.
Gusto rin na lang talaga dong pakuhaan ng magandang advantage dito. Yung kanilang mga eco buys, yung kanilang bonus round for this one. Pero magiging mangyayari lang dito, syempre magkakaroon na ng sustainable momentum dito ang Team Secret. But here we have the possible here. Makakot ba timing? Nandito naman kaagad yung mga sakit-sak. Chup-chup nga lang dito to the dispenser. Kaya one member down already for Team Secret. Doable pa rin naman dahil dalawa na lang ang natitira for PRX. We have the buy, the only remaining member. Naku po, gumugos na talaga siya. Pero makikita pa rin naman siya sa step. One game finally in favor of the side of Team Secret.
Isa rin sa mga magagandang nangyari dito, syempre, isa lang yung naging casualty on the side of Team Secret, knowing that this is their buy round. At least, hindi ganun na-punish yung economy nila. But on the side of PRX, ang importante naman para sa team na to, obviously, alam naman nila na hindi sila lamang pagdating sa barrel, but to get as many pick-offs and maybe get around itself. The good or rather bonus round for PRX, but this time, syempre, may mga kaban ng bayan, may laman yan. Kaya naman makakabili dito ang PRX. Is it gonna be fast? That's the question. It seems like forward dito si Dubstep, hindi siya makakapag-TP out, kaya naman kailangan spray and pray. Isang nakukuha niya, pero may isang trade-off din na mangyayari. Jesse Vash gets one. The concuss settles in mula sa Astra. Si Wits, tamang spray down lang din, but Jesse Vash will get the kill instead. What a nice mula sa side ng Team Secret. Another clear round for them. Isa lang ang namatay. That's Dubstep dahil lang na-cancel siya.
Taylor, hindi na nila kailangan pang makita. Tandaan nyo, kapag nakabili na dito ang Team Secret ng kanilang mga bala, ng kanilang mga barrel, kabahan na ang PRX. Ultimo smoke lang din ang naging reason dito kung bakit wala nga makita dito players sa PRX. Pero look at this. Just goes to show na alam ng Team Secret, alam nila Wits kung saan mismo patatamain yung kanilang mga bala, yung kanilang crosshair dito to eliminate 10 players from PRX. And sayang yun ha. That was a buy for PRX. And ngayon, mapapalit na sila, eco lang ang meron.
Uy! Si Borcom! Naligaw ng kaunti doon! Si Dispenser rin! Natamaan sila ng C's on Amy. Nahuli rin yung dalawang members. This is an eco disadvantage for the side of PRX, but they're making it happen. An entry on A side to the force in action para sa kanila. Dubstep as well has the operator. Pero ginagapang na rin siya ni Jing dito. With the help of the Hunt, baka sakaling makita. But this is an Altron right in front of the face. Dubstep was able to secure the kill. Apat pa rin ang players ng PRX right now. And na-plant na rin nila yung spike. Right behind Jesse Vash is another player which is gonna be Dubstep. Tamang ikot lang din. 4v3. And a nice wing from Dubstep getting that kill. Pero maghahanap pa rin dito ang Team Secret. Ilan pa rin ang kailangan nilang patayin. The Vice C1. That's gonna be Wits. Isa na rin na napabagsak ni Benkay. It's up to Dubstep in making this round happen. He has the operator. This is probably gonna be a save, Honey Glaze.
Hirap na lang din talaga dito since nakita natin yung mga utilities na talagang pinaulan ng PRX against Team Secret. Although there was also the advantage of the players of Team Secret na meron silang mga guns, meron silang mga barrel dito. They have the utilities, but the problem is, nandito naman din yung composure ngayon ng PRX. Nakaisa lang naman din ang ilang kanilang lead ngayon at nakuha by timing ang mga players ngayon for Team Secret para hindi sila makaligtas. But that was also a good game well played, especially dito for the side of Team Secret. Dahil napiloa pa rin naman nila sina Forsaken, nakailang kill din sila doon.
Kahit pa paano, nakailang kill nga rin sila. Ang kaso nga lang, that is still a thrifty round para sa side ng PRX. So still, lugi pa rin ang Team Secret doon. Nakita-kita nyo naman kahit nasa attackers ang PRX, hindi pa rin sila takot dito gumamit ng operator. Especially they have a chamber as well. And itong mga yung banse ng mga players ng Team Secret, lagi kasi yung merong aggression, certain aggression on Amy na pinapakita, especially in a map like Ascent. Pero ito na nga ang entry ni Jing. Tatama ba ang showstopper? Buti nilang hindi tumama sa side ng Team Secret. Apat ang mahuhuli at makikita ni Jesse Vash. Tumama ang kanyang shock dart, kaya naman mamamatay din si Davai. Tatlong players pa ng PRX ang hindi nakakapasok, pero napapatay sila dito isa-isa. Dubstep sees one on top mid as well. Benkay Sinusubukang mabuhay pero mukhang malapit na rin siyang maging bangkay. Prowler being used right in mid para lang o baka sakali lang na makita niya at mahanap niya kung nasan ba ang mga natitirang players ng Team Secret dito. But this is still a 5v2 situation, Honey Glaze.
Hirapan na rin talaga dito makahinga ng maluwag ang PRX dahil kompleto regados pa ang Team Secret na buweluhan nila Wits. Buti na lang din talaga at nakapag-dash away dito sa Wits from those casualty na pwede ngang ibigay sa kanya dito ng PRX. Dagdagan mo pa na showstopper yung
30
niya,
seconds
pero
left.
dubstep. Mamamataan mo ng Prowler, makakatakas lang din na bahagya. Meron siyang for the first recon, though hindi nga lang tatama. Dalawang ito ay kulang na rin din sa oras para makapag-rotate pa nga. But the problem is, saan nila hahanapin dito yung 4 pang natitira?
Still, Forsaken has the operator. 13 seconds remaining
10 seconds
on
left.
the spike plant. And I think this is gonna be a save for the side of PRX. Gusto talaga nilang ingatan yung operator na yan kahit napakayaman ni Forsaken. At least makakapag-drop siya. At itong eco disadvantage nila ay may iibsan kahit papano with a buy from, or rather with the 2 remaining players right here na may mga baril pa nga. At for this, syempre, Team Secret takes away the round. Pantay na pantay ang laban dito. At kung hindi ako nagkakamali, ang pumili ng mapa na to is actually Team Secret. So yung magiging sunod na mapa dito, kasi baka hindi na napanood ng viewers natin, sobrang nagkaroon tayo ng delay. Bind yung next map. And then after that, kung pupunta tayo sa game 3, na hindi naman kasi 2-0 na nga ang Team Secret dito, Icebox ang susunod na mapa na alam naman natin nilaro ng Team Secret against Sersha kung di ako nagkakamali. Anyway, brand new round here, round 7. Forsaken with an operator. Tamang swing lang din at tamang hanap lang din sa kalaban. Pero si Jessie Bash ang unang masaspatahan. Open na open ang kanyang location dito at hindi na nga niya in-expect na may papasok pa nung B-main ng ganun.
Akalain mo yun, Forsaken pa ang nakabuelo dito ng isa. Operator pa ang gamit niya, but the Prowler will be getting the info na wala kang katao-tao dito sa stream. But the paranoia will be also a go signal na meron na nga ditong tao sa loob para madali na nga papasok all the way from 3. But the problem is, Burkum, after getting in 1, makukuha pa rin naman siya dito kaagad ni Forsaken. Down to 2 members na lang dito kaagad ang Team Secret. Makakaisa, and yes, he will. Pero papasok na rin naman tayo. Nagaling pa ang kabila, pero Wes was able to classic the head of Mind Freak down to 1 remaining member. Si Dubstep na lang against 2 members dito ng PRX.
Hala ko hindi makiklear out ni Wits yung angle na yon, pero buti na lang napatay niya. Bago rin siya mapatay, at least it's a 2-to-1 trade. It's all up to Dubstep. Pag bumagsak siya sa hell, makikita niya dito si Davai ang unang magiging contact. But isa lang ang pwedeng maging contact because he is gonna go down in the hands of Davai already. And alam niyo naman, ang pwestuhan in a 2v1 situation like that, lalo na in a sense na nag-aabang na lang sila sa hell. Crossfire talaga ang makakatapat nila dito. Sayang talaga yung positioning ni Jessie Vash doon. Nahuli cam siya ng operator eh.
Sayang din yun kasi syempre nagamit ba ito rin yung isa sa mga good amount of executions, and syempre yung hyper awareness dito ni Wiz na makapag-react on time since naibigay na nga nila yung A site, nag-gather na yung mga utilities dito sa 3. Syempre papakiramdaman mo na lang din kaagad kung sino yung magsiswing away from that window, and now it's 4-3. Isa lang naman ang nilalaman dito ngayon ng PRX, pero kabahan na muna muli sila dito dahil they are playing it slow. May pera pa rin ang Team Secret at operator pa ang hawak dito ni Wiz.
Oh, tamang silip lang pero matatamaan rin siya ng trademark. Konting delay pagdating sa Aldron, but Jessie Vash, mawawala rin agad-agad yung Aldron na yan. He might, or he probably saw the Vi. Pero pino-forward o pinupush na tong loob ng smoke eh. Ang mga players ng PRX nag-aabang lang din because this might be a push for Team Secret nga. Ang kaso pag lumabas si Dubstep dito, makikita niya talaga si Davai and still Davai wins the A duel. Unfortunately, ito na rin ang ulti ng KO. No, that's been used and still he goes down. Jessie Vash trying to pin down the enemies right here. Isa pa rin na mapipitas dito ni Witz. Witz sopping out and he goes down as well on Forsaken's mind. Kaya naman itong si Mind Freak, inire-rest na rin si Davai. Hanapan mode talaga, 4v2 situation, and the rotations right now for the side of PRX, it seems to be an A hit.
Nagkasalitihan sila dalawa dito. Spencer makakakuha ng anak isa, pero malilikuran na nga lang din ni Jing. That is already the favorite position naman dito ng PRX para ma-eliminate dito players from Team Secret. Dalawa, nakaagad yung rounds na naiipon nila dito at eco round muna ang Team Secret.
Kita nyo naman na si Vilna muna ang bahala sa trash talk pag lugi pa tayo, guys. mamaya na. Kasi masyadong malapit yung match masyado eh. Kaya nakakabami. Kaya chill lang muna kayo. Pero yun nga, sayang yung positioning dito ng mga players ng Team Secret. Talagang expected talaga nila na yung play for picks, literal play for picks eh. Tamang antay kung mag-aantay. Kasi maaga pa naman sa round na yun. Tsaka kakaset pa lang nung smoke natin simula nung round. Obviously, they could wait out for that. Di naman kagaya ng Brimstone na napakatagal din.
Ang mahirap din kasi dito talaga is yung utilities na palitan yung ginagamit dito ng PRX. We have the recon na makukuha or rather yung mga nagiging suppress dito the divide. There's also the follow naman dito ng prowlers para ma-check yung mga corners at yun ang nangyayari. Kaya nakaka-cancel out ka agad. Ang Team Secret dito, too early aggressive pick dito laban sa side na nga ng nila Forsaken but Wits. Medyo nag-iinit na rin talaga. Gamit ng kanyang mga tinidor ngayon, nakakuha na ng isa. It's all up to him to cancel out everyone na nakapasok na nga. Make it 2K for this guy. Matatagpuan lang din naman ang hot. Makukuha niya na dito ang buhay ni Divine. Mukhang hindi na muna pero Divine. Dito ay magtatagpuan na nga lang dito ng kapwa niya Robocop. But still, he is still alive. We have a 2v3 situation but it is all up to Jing kung ano pa yung pwede nang gawin dito. Lalo na nakapag-free upgrade na ang Team Secret dito.
May mga baril na nga rin sila. And then 2v1 situation. Jing, he will go down. Nalaman nila na nasa site na. Na-detect rin naman kasi. At syempre may kinalaban siya on the site itself. Team Secret, hinahanap ata nila yung operator bago makapag-defuse ng spike. So, with this, we are going to a 4-5 score. Isa lang ang kalamangan ng PRX. At syempre, pagdating sa depensa, minsan nga napapunish agad yung early aggression na pinapakita ng Team Secret dito, Honey Glaze. But, if they don't do that, PRX will have complete control however the way they want to go in. Walang makukuha, walang mapipitas ang Team Secret. So, pag di nila ginagawa yung mga early aggression na yon, doon kasi sila eh. Yun talaga ang signature move ng isang Team Secret. Kaya nagkakaroon sila ng control sa mapa instead of just PRX having it.
Kaya importante rin talaga yung mga early picks na ginagawa nila dito. Especially para makakuha at least ng info. At talagang mahirapan dito yung PRX na nagpo-push pa rin yung defending team natin dito. So, ibig sabihin, hindi lang nila basta-basta i-give away yung mga space na gustong i-create dito ng PRX. 4-5 pa rin naman dito ang laban. Still doable for Team Secret. Merong dalawang operator na hawak ngayon. Si Dubstep, si Wits. Tingnan natin kung makakakuha nga ba sila dito ng isa. Dahil kiki na rin dito ang pwesto ngayon ni kung matatapunan na lang ng seeds. There's the wide swing. Nakaabang na agad sa Forsaken. Jing is also as well ready with the paint shells. Nice pick naman ang ginawa dito ni Wits to counter out the players from PRX. Mukhang ma-hold muna dito ang PRX sa pagpasok pa lang ng side.
Mahirap kasi para sa side ng PRX. Kung dati nakakataka si Burkum sa mga ganong positioning para iba to yung paranoia. Ang problema may fade, may seize na pwedeng gamitin para ma-force out siya, para ma-pull out. Eh kaso nga lang si Wits, tamang silip lang din on mid. Nilalabanan nga ang mga players ng PRX. Very open ang kanyang positioning dito. Jesse Vash was able to secure a kill on the Vido. Mababagsak o babagsak ang spike na meron sila. It's still a 2v2 situation. Hawak pa rin nila ang spike dito. Kaso nga lang, pumuposisyon lang naman si Jesse Vash para lang makita yung spike. Magpa-plant na nga dito si Mindfreak as well. Kaya it's all up to Dispenser. He's the only man remaining here. May need pa naman siyang pwedeng gamitin. But this is a 34th in action. The concuss settles in. Tumama sa kanya. And it is a good choke point for PRX's side.
Crossfire ang ino-hold nila dito ngayon. Taylor at mukhang mag-wide swing pa nga dito. Away from stairs, si Mindfreak, makukuha na nila ngayon yung leading rounds dito sa half na ito. Pero needless to say, talagang ang ganda ng mga naging utility usage nila dito. Especially sa pag-hold pa lang ng mga sides at pag-clear out ng mga early aggressive corners. So pwede pwestuhan dito ngayon ng Team Secret ay kasi na kailangan nila makapag-adjust. Once na makita nila dito na napaparusahan sila, mga early aggressive picks sila, yung mga pushes nila dito, hindi agad nagwawagi. And this time around, PRX still has the 2 reading rounds, pero masasabi ko lang din dito, kabahan sila sa eco round na naman dito ng Team Secret.
Tatlo sa kanila walang pera, pero tamang rendezvous lang din. Forsaken, a perfect timing Doing the rendezvous, hindi siya mababawasan ng buhay. Pero si Jing, papasok na nga. Showstopper connects. Pero may isang nasa Gedzi. That's gonna be Borkum with the free upgrade. Tamang TP out lang din. Pero Wits iniipit ang isang miyembro. This is an eco round for Team Secret. But it seems like they're overwhelming the players of Paper Rex right now. Mind Freak already planting the spike. But this is still 3 remaining players para sa side ng Team Secret. Lahat sila dito. May mga baril na rin. Aside from the Guardian na hindi rifle. But Cosmic Divide being used right here by Mind Freak. This can be played out by Team Secret as well. Mind Freak, slowly peeking. Sinisilip lang niya kung may tumawid na, pero nakita na nga niya may tumawid. This is gonna be a triple man push for the side of Team Secret. The Vi is gonna hop out really soon. With a pop flash coming in, he sees Dubstep. On the right corner is gonna be Jesse Bash, pero siya pa rin ang makakapatay. Team Secret on to 5-6.
Sa inyo na ang ego, sa inyo na lahat ng mga pera ng kaban ng bayan para makuha na nga yung mga rounds na kailangan nyo. Dahil habulin na tawag
Last round before the switch.
agad ng Team Secret.
Ganda ng ego.
It's just a thrifty round na naman ng Team Secret. Sabi ko nga kanina, kabahan na yung Paper X once na napunta sa ego dito, ang players ng Team Secret. Tingnan mo nga, na-frenzy lang dito ang kanilang race. Si Jing hindi nakabuelo ka agad dito, kinabulkom. And that is another round for them to secure. 5-6 is our scoreline, pero sobrang explosive ng half na ito.
Ito yung sinabi ko before sila pumasok for the retake itself. I said when the Cosmic Divide comes up, this can be played out by Team Secret. In the end, si Davao yung nahirapan pumasok o makakuha ng pick-off dahil kailangan niya pumasok sa Cosmic Divide na sinetap ng teammate niya. But the shot from the operator mula kay Wits, hindi tatama, pero sisilip na naman si Dubstep. Nahuli nga lang, nauna siyang sumilip kaysa sa Aldrone.
Na pamadali ka agad ang pag-pick away dito ni Dubstep. Para at least kasi siguro pag pinagsabay nila dito yung pick and syempre yung utility na yon ay mahihirapan dito ang Paper Rex. Pero kasi Paper Rex para talagang wais na sa kanila kung paano ba dito lalaruin ng Team Secret yung tadhana with their utilities. But now Jesse Vash ang nasa loob ng side. Nightfall para mag-bait. We have your Jesse Vash receiving in a lot of damage from the Cherry. Pero
Isa pa ba? Dispenser!
Naku!
Hindi makakita ni
One
Dispenser!
enemy remaining.
Guys, partida, nakapatay kasi yung monitor kaya hindi nakita ni Dispenser, pero si Wits mawawala din yung operator na hawak niya. Paper Rex was able to secure this final round, a flawless
Switching
one
sides.
even. Sayang, tamang miscom lang, tamang ano lang. Kung may Aldrone, siguro muna bago sumilip si Dubstep. Sayang lang. Okay, anyway, move on na tayo. Ganun talaga ang buhay. 7-5 naman to pagdating sa score, kaya huwag kayong mag-alala. Kumbaga, pistol round, tapos isang buy round, papantay at papantay din yan.
Kaya sabi nga natin kanina, kung mag-iiko at mapupwesta mag-iiko dito ang Team Secret, kabahan na lagi dito ang Paper Rex. We are down to the second half of the series. It was really just a good half for Paper Rex. Pero this time, talaga masasabi ko dito is that attacker-sided din kasi yung composure dito ngayon. Composition ng Team Secret. We have the Spencer. There's also Jesse Bash pa with their utility. So they can cancel out the utility usage dito ng Paper Rex. And syempre, yung mga wise plays na naman dito ni Borkom. Ito yung inaabangan ko eh. Taylor, hawak na naman niya yung Omen. So paano pa kaya kung ma-mind play na naman nila dito, ma-mind games na naman nila dito yung Paper Rex?
Nabibigla sa bilis minsan yung Team Secret eh. But at the same time, that's also happening sa Paper Rex's side. Minsan nabibigla din sila. If you can vividly remember yung eco round natin against them, kung saan naipit talaga sila ng mga players ng Team Secret, they can be overwhelmed too. Kailangan mo lang talagang hanapan ng magagandang positioning itong mga players ng Paper Rex. But as we can see, Forsaken performing really well. Yung dating double duelist setup na nakikita natin for Paper Rex's side na si Forsaken yung nagje-jet. Hindi na natin siya masyado nakikita dito sa Asia Pacific stage. He's on mainly on a chamber right now. Maliban na lang kung mag-iiba yung mga mapa na meron tayo. But the performance has been phenomenal, knowing that chamber nilagay siya dyan sa Valorant as a Sentinel, but mainly of course yung mga utilities niya malakas para sa isang mga duel or aim duels.
That's a good spot.
Yeah. Yung mga makikita natin dito, mga plays sa akala natin na magre-reposition na pala away from casualty dito. Yung chamber ay nandito lang din pala dito sa mga gilid-gilid na pwedeng ang abangan niya. We have here 7-5 scoreline again for the preceding half of this game. And will it be doable para sa side na nga ngayon ng Team Secret? Magiging question pa ka ba yun? Magiging doable talaga ito for Team Secret to use. Dahil nga, they have the advantage. But now, they have the suppress. We also have here the paranoia para ma-reposition na nga dito si Jing. Matatagpuan rin naman dito ng Recon. 3 versus 5 na magiging casualty na magiging nangyayari dito instead of the side. Nakakalaban na dito na bagya si Wiz. Kaso nakagip pa rin ng frenzy dito ni Jing. Borkom takes away 1 member down as well. 4v3 still doable for the side of Team Secret.
Still doable pero kailangan nila makahanap ng pitas. Ang kaso nga lang talagang tagu-taguan ang laruan dito ng PRX. Wala talagang pumupush. Maliban na lang sa mga angle na hinahawakan talaga ni na Forsaken, yun lang yung push na gagawa dito ng PRX. But other than that, talagang tiis pogi pagdating sa mga sites na meron sila. A triple stack on A and just a fade on B side. Kung mapipitas ni Dubstep, yung isa, baka magkaroon ng chance ang B-side dito mabuksan. Ang kaso nga lang, syempre yung spike na drop na rin pala sa mid. Inaabangan lang ng mga players ng PRX paano yung magiging rotations nila. Dubstep, he gets one, but Borkum, 1-2-1 trade lang ang meron dito. It's still a 2v1 situation. Dubstep, low on HP, nagsiset up na ng rendezvous. Alam na alam nila na nandito na nga siya. And Jing was able to secure the kill on the 4K on this round, making it a 5-8. Ibigay nyo na lahat ng enerhiya nyo para sa side ng Team Secret. Ngayon na ang panahon, ladies and gents.
Ito na ang pagkakataon para magtulong-tulong. Kailangan ng Team Secret dito para makalaban at matalo na nga ang mga dayuhan. Papasok na sila sana ng site dito talaga. Ang problema lang din is hindi sila nakasurvive pala dito sa pwesto na kinumit nga ni Jing. There was also the commitment on the utilities para hindi sila makapag-push inside of the sites, and there's also the problem kung paano ba dito mababaluhan maka-counter out kaagad si Jing. We have now here another eco para sa side na nga ngayon ng Team Secret. Little of the utilities lang ang pwede nilang ma-secure, but now Jing talagang gumugusto siya. We have the satchel, not even getting it. Pero wiping dito ni Dispenser, magiging casualty. Jing dito, goes in for 3. Pero mukhang makakasunod pala yung pangatlong kill niyang gagawin dito. Against for Cook. But dito, on the other hand, still defending LT para hindi makapasok dito ang Team Secret. 11 HP left for this guy, but unfortunately hindi siya naging ready kay Forsaken. 9-5 is our scoreline.
Grabe si Jing gumamit ng utilities. Galit na galit ata ako kay Borkum. Kanina pinipaint shells. Ngayon naman lahat na ng satchel binato. Pero ang ganda ng pagkakagamit niya sa utilities dito. Tumama rin kay Dispenser pati dun sa isang kakampi ni Borkum ha. Instead of helping them or helping him out of the situation, instead naging 2-1 trade pa yung nangyari here on A main. In the end, it was up to Borkum with a very low HP. Kaya naman 9-5 ang score natin. Pero buy round na ng Team Secret para sa araw na ito. Ito ay half hour more for the 3 remaining players. Pero mukhang si Jing bumaban si Team. Akala mo naman talaga. Nakalamang ka lang. Gusto mo nang umadvance.
Kala mo makakampante na kayo kaagad sa satchel in mong yan? Nagpatingin ka lang dito ng mga flights mo pero hindi pa rin magwawagi yan. 1 member down already for the side of PRX. 3 ang nakaabang dito sa garage para na nga makapasok. Pero ang unang magiging utility na makakatapat nila dito is the trademark dito given by that chamber. And tingnan nga natin kung makakapasok pa sila dito. Siyempre dahil nga we might see here mind fake na naman na magamit yung pop smoke to get inside of the smoke, run and run players from the side of Team Secret. Pero alam ko napakiramdaman na ng Team Secret ang pwedeng mangganap na nga dito. And mind fake is already inside of the smoke. Nandito nga kaagad yung mga spray and pray niya against 2 players from Team Secret. Dispenser dito, kailangan niya na rin mag-iwan dahil may pang-bomb na hawak dito si Forsaken. There is also as well enemy remaining para makakuha na ngayon po. Forsaken goes in for 2. Borkum na lang din ang natitira dito. Mag-isa nasa loob siya ng site ngayon. Pero alam ko nakikita na rin. At pinihintay siya ng players ngayon.
30 seconds.
PRX.
The swing comes out, a double peak. Pero PRX pa rin ang mananaig pagdating sa aim duels na to. Laging nakaka-catch off guard yung sina Jessie Vash, pati na rin sina Dubstep. Pagdating sa B main, ito tamang satchel in sa kamatayan. Magandang pangitahin na sana for Team Secret side, pero nalaro na naman sila around the smoke, especially while using the utilities. Saktong-sakto lang din. And with the knife of dispenser, he wasn't able to locate the chamber as well right in the corner. Kaya naman saktong judge place na lang din ang nakikita natin dito. Pero mukhang 5-10 ang magiging score. 5 rounds ang kailangan habulin ng Team Secret. Si Dubstep na naman ang napitas. Sinubukan pero hindi pa rin kakayanin. It's on repeat for the following rounds already. Pero mukhang lalapit na dito ang ibang mga members ng Team Secret. Tamang pop flash lang din. Coming in, si Forsaken na naman ang problema nila. Pero si Jing, makakapatay pa rin ng isa. That's gonna be Dispenser. It's all up to Jesse Bash right here on mid. It's gonna go down to Paper Rex's side. Si Davaya makakapatay. 11-5 ng mabilisan lang.
Ang bilis ng naging round na yun, especially for the side of Paper Rex. Hindi nila hinayaan na makapasok. Gagad dito ang Team Secret. Ito pa lang din yung panimula ni Forsaken para mabaluhan niya kaagad ng tama dito sila Dubstep. Parang nabasa nila na mag-early aggressive kaagad dito or not play for patience ang Team Secret to get an info. Byron na finally for Team Secret. So let's see kung magiging worthy na nga ba itong round na ito for them dahil kailangan na nila manalo. Kung hindi, aabot na sa match point ang Paper Rex.
Isa na lang pala ang kailangan ng Paper Rex dito. Hayaan nyo guys, 11 is all they get. Borkum, he spots already. One in the corner, si Jing yan. Pero makakatakas pa rin. With an immediate smoke coming in from the Astra. Showstopper na naman ang kailangan palagaan. Buti na lang hindi tumama. Si Wits, tama ang tinitignan mo dyan. Tuturuan ng ita. Basta manalo lang ang Team Secret. Pero tamang TP out lang din para kay Borkum. Sa na nga si Forsaken. He goes down in the hands of Wits. The Vi spots one as well for V3 situation. Tamang gapang lang for the side of Team Secret. May pop flash pa na pwedeng gamitin si Dispenser dito. Pero sino nga ba ang unang makakaspot sa isa't isa? The Vibe. Perfect opportunity, the perfect angle kay Dispenser. Kaya naman saktong timing lang din. Mind Freak wrapping around the corner, setting up the stars right now. Will the stars align? Yan ang katanungan. Dahil syempre, 4 na players pa ng Team Secret ang buhay na buhay dito. The knife settles out. Dubstep sees him. Ang kaso nga lang, it's too late already for the swing. Mind Freak was able to secure the kill. Dubstep right behind. It's only one more player. It is Mind Freak. He spots Dubstep. He goes out. 2v1 situation pa rin ang meron tayo dito. At syempre, para sa Team Secret, kailangan na nilang i-plant ang spike.
Iniwan na ng mga tropa dito si Mind Freak ngayon, 1v2 situation. He still has the stars pero hanggang dito na lang din yan. Dahil nga ngayon, talagang inaalam niya parang sa sarili niya na kabahan na siya ngayon sa mga pwedeng maging pwesto dito nila Borkom para ma-cut off yung kanyang rotation. He's waiting all the way from that corner. Meron pang recon dito to hold and further dito sa backside sa ating defender spawn. And now, we have here, just waiting all the way from midway dito si Jesse Bosch. Pero makakauna pa rin pala dito. Si Mind Freak, nabigla tayo sa mga naging pangyayari dito. Pero hindi niya alam kung saan nang gagaling dito si Jesse Bosch. Ito na nga ba ang magiging condolences natin maibibigay dito. And it is a round 1 for the side of Jesse Bash para maihabol na nga. Sabi naman sa inyo guys, 11 lang ang kailangan na ditong kapangin ngayon ng Team Secret against Paper Rex.
Ang hirap hindi huminga. Diyos ko. Pagdating dun sa round na yun, 3v1 situation, muntikan pa nga, mabaliktad. Buti na lang, nauna pa rin mahanap ni Jesse Vash. Nabitawan yung shift, pero baka sinadya para lang marinig na baka pumunta sa right side. Yung, tama naman, no? Na-jinx, na-debate niya yung Astra. Akala niya sa stairs lalabas eh. So, well played, a well-played round. Pero lumilipad agad dito si Wits. Pero may isa pang lumilipad na nasa harapan nila. That's gonna be Jeng. He gets 2. Para sa pangatlo, it's gonna be Forsaken. Tamang abang lang ang mga players dito ng Team Secret. Ang kaso wala nang pwedeng maging trade. He goes for the pop flash on mid. Spots the players. Dito may sa may top mid lang. Mag-force out si Jesse Bash. Pero mamamatay din siya. Buti na lang nakuha niya yung kill before he goes down. It's all up to Dubstep yet again.
Matatagpuan pa siya dito in a cheeky angle na naman ang pinanghawakan ni Davai. It's already a match point for the side of Paper Rex against Team Secret. Tapos mahihirapan pa sa mga buys dito ang Team Secret. Pero makikita natin dito sa replay na nakakagulat ang mga naging executions dito ni Jing. Especially yung mga paglapag nila ng mga utilities, talagang naisama niya din dito sa bangkay ng mga nakita nating mga flash given to us by the players here from Paper Rex. And now, 6-12 is our scoreline. Hati at nagipet ngayon ang Team Secret to get in this win. Pero tingin ko dito hahawak sa patalim.
Jing, talagang sumasalo ng mga damage pero Dispenser was able to take sila. Dalawang players na lang natitira for the side of PRX. Mareres pa nga dito si Dispenser. This is a big opportunity for Team Secret. Overwhelming the side of PRX right now. Using the Altron, trying to find the spot. Kung nasan nga ba yung isa pang members dito. They see one. And that's gonna be Benkay right around the corner as well on Heaven. Na nag-iisa na lang. He takes on the RJX. Dahil mas magandang skin daw yan. Pero pag lumabas si Benkay, talagang bangkay ang matitira dito. Dahil with that shock dart, it would connect perfectly and dubstep shots as well.
Di na makakaisa pa dito ang PRX. 7-12. Nadaplisan lang ng isa dito ang Team Secret pero naipanalo pa rin nila yung round na yun. Talagang kumukulit si Jinx Taylor eh. Yung mga satchels niya tapos nababuluan siya ng tama dito ngayon ng Team Secret. Nabasa na kung paano siya gagantihan. But we still have here the ultimate na meron pa rin naman dito ang Team Secret. Burkum na naman dito with his From the Shadows. Tapos nagdala mo pa kaagad dito ng Tour de Force sila Dubstep. But by all means, they need to win out this one again para makakuha na ng tamang ito at para makuha na nga itong sunod-sunod na mga rounds na ito against PRX. Pero kukulit talaga dito si Forsaken. One member down already for PRX.
Ha? Burkum? Nandito na rin siya sa may A short. But if we can see just the quick take a look at the mini-map, yung mga rotations dito ng players ng PRX, hindi na kailangan makita ni Dubstep bago niya mapatay. Hindi nga makukuha pero may susunod pa ata. Si Davay ang mananalo pagdating sa aim duel na yan. This is still a 4v3. It's in anyone's hands. It's anyone's game at this point. Match point pa rin ang PRX syempre at for the side of Team Secret. Mahaba-haba pa to kung gusto nila makabawi. Pero syempre kaya natin yan guys. Huwag kayong mag-alala. On the other hand, when it comes to ultimates, para sa side ng PRX, they have complete side for Davay with the null command. They also have Mind Freak na may Cosmic Divide. But this is very much doable for the side of Team Secret knowing na sila yung may kailangan. Tsaka open na open yung A side dito.
Konting-konti lang yung naging advantage dito ng Cosmic Divide to delay and players from Team Secret. It's down kay 3v4. Makukuha kaagad nila dito yung suspense na kaya nga ibigay ni Davay. Pero Davay dito makakakuha na kaagad ng isa. We have now here the player from the side of Team Secret na lumalagdag na nga. It's all up to Jessica. Clutch things out in the wall. Vito situation, but the problem is hindi na makakaabot ito to clutch out at mapigilan na nga yung pagraragasan ng players from PRX. PDX 7 as our scoreline game number 1 ay napunta sa mga kamay ng PRX.
Alam nyo naman, pag bida, sa una nagpapatalo talaga. Pero, syempre, game number 1 going in the hands of PRX. Ibig sabihin yan, isang round or isang game na lang ang kakailanganin nila dito, Honey Glaze, to actually make it to the grand finals. Pero itong PRX, ever since, this is the top 1 team right now in Asia Pacific. Pagdating sa points, pagdating sa mga napanalo rin nila as well. And isa talaga to sa expected na kumbaga pumunta sa Grand Finals. But we are still hoping at syempre hindi pa rin magpapatalo ang Pinoy dito going into game number 2. But talking about the map that we just had here, Honey Glaze, ano sa tingin mo? Ba't nagkulang? Bakit may kulang pagdating sa side ng Team Secret?
Tingin wala na din talagang naging kulang eh. Talagang naging lakas lang dito ng players ng PRX is their utility usage and syempre dagdagan mo pa ng fast explosive plays na binibigay dito. Multiple times ni Jing na lagi siya nakakapuro ng mga players dito from Team Secret. Pero ngayon lang yan guys. Katulad nga na sinabi ni Taylor, talagang nagpapatalo at napapabugbog lang sa una dito ang Team Secret. Parang nakita ko na rin to last time. Nung last year na VCT or C Challengers here in VCT na nahihirapan talaga ang Team Secret para mapabuelo na nga dito against PRX. Pero sila pa rin ang nag-grand champion. So hintayin natin yan in the next map.
It's not only, yung importance kasi dito, it's not only just picking the agents, making sure they mash together perfectly. And nakuha kasi ng PRX yung perfect synergy pagdating dyan. Nakita naman natin on the offense kanina on the side of PRX kung saan ginagamit nila yung C's. They were able to use the paint shells all together and alam naman natin kung gaano kalaki yung pagdidrain nung isang C's comparing and lalo na kapag sinamahan mo pa ng paint shells. So very good utility usage here on the side of PRX. Team Secret, madalas nahuhuli sila, napipick off sila pagdating sa mga early aggression. But in the end, sometimes it works. Ang kaso nga lang, kailangan nila talaga maging mas creative pagdating dito or going up against a team like PRX. Pero sa tingin ko ngayon, pupunta muna tayo sa short break, no? Syempre, naghahanda tayo for game number 2, Honey Glaze.
Yes, exactly. I'm also waiting in for so much to happen dito for PaperX and Team Secret dahil nga ito nga yung El Clasico ng VCT APAC. Pero syempre, magbabalik kami ng ilang sandali bago pa tayo makakita na ulit ng comeback dito, pangtindig ng balahibo dito ng Team Secret. I'm Honey Glaze, kasama ko ngayon si Taylor, and see you in a bit sa game number 2.
You is high trees and queens. Hurry up quick, El Jefe's coming soon. Sit up straight when she enters the room. Be enthused, but don't look too amused. This is her queendom, please respect her rule. Hurry up quick, El Jefe's coming soon. Sit up straight when she enters the room. Be enthused, but don't look too amused. This is a queendom.
I just gotta flex, flex, flex on the lean. I just wanna rap, rap, rap to the beat. I just wanna back, 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 cause I'm mean. I just gotta go back, I'm a freak. Gotta go. I just wanna rap to the beat.
Move of emotion, they drunk at their problems. They always on road and they starting. She knows cause she is the same. She's trying to stop playing games. Move of emotion, they drunk at their problems. They always on road and they starting. She knows cause she is the same. She's trying to stop playing games. Where the people at, what they really want to know. Who's your lovers and who are your bros? Who are the enemies you do keep close? Who are the people that you shouldn't know? Where the people at, what they really want to know. Who's your lovers and who are your bros? Who are the enemies you do keep close? Who are the people that you shouldn't know?
I just gotta flex, flex, flex on the lean. I just wanna rap, rap, rap to the beat. I just wanna back, 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 cause I'm mean. I just gotta go back, I'm a freak. Gotta go. I just wanna rap, rap, rap to the beat.
The chains.
So far, so good. I'd say that this series is really worth the hype. Team Secret and PaperX giving us quite the show over here, but alas, it is PaperX who ascended. Back here on the panel, it's the likable, Fluffy, and Trix. A joyous day for all Valorant fans out there as we get all of these amazing rounds in, and of course, PaperX is no exception to this, Trix.
Definitely, PaperX doing a fantastic job. Just the way that they're playing, it's not even predictable. When I'm looking at them, I'm wondering, what are they going to do the next round? Are they going to do this again? Are they going to push here? But every time they're surprising me, whether it's on their attacker side or their defender side. What I have noticed as well is when PaperX is going in, sometimes with their strategy doesn't seem to be working out, they know how to pull back, slow down, regroup, and just push together, get those picks with one another.
Yeah, very clean Valorant coming out of PaperX. Team Secret put in a lot of effort, especially on the first half, but unfortunately for them, it wasn't enough at the end of it, ending the game at a 13-7 score in favor of PaperX. I'd like to really highlight, though, how, you know, as much as we know that the players on PaperX specifically are quick on the trigger, they're also having those quick decision moments as well. Jing, especially on that raise, was so aggressive, not giving Team Secret any room for them to breathe, and his utility usage over what I've seen from other raises is also impeccable. He really was smart, especially I remember an round very early on where he was peeking out of A main when he had that Spectre in hand, and because of the one-way smoke, they were funneled into where the A orb is, and he was using his satchels to force Team Secret to play his game, and in combination with just the movement, buffering the Team Secret aim and having that Spectre, he really got a lot of value out of that. But other than that, we see so many creative nades. He's used it to push out players from top mid. On the attack, also, he used it I think in combination with Benkai's C's to push out enemies from A. And it's just so nice to see a player with both of these good habits.
It really is. And I think that the battle of control was super evident, especially during the first half. But for the most part, I think PRX, when you look at the minimap, they just had more control, especially on the mid section tricks. They were really pushing as much space as they could.
Honestly, watching PaperX move on that attacker side, I wasn't really sure where to look half the time. I'm seeing all of their movement, they're taking control in one area, and then suddenly I'm looking again and I see another player pushed all the way forward. And I just feel it's this kind of synergy that they have with each other, this idea and understanding of what they want to take, the utilities that are being used, the ability to count the agents and understand where the openings are.
I think a great thing about PaperX is they really combine their aggression that they put out in full force, but they also know that when they get control of what they need to control, they don't overextend. They have the discipline to stop and hold, and like Trix mentioned, to regroup for a lot of more amazing plays and really play out the round, because all they care about at the end of the day is either planting or defusing that spike. That being said, I feel like they also know their roles. We saw in a couple of rounds how the players from situation to situation will change up their playstyle. I remember one specifically where the Cosmic Divide was used when PaperX was down a couple members. Although this play ultimately failed, the idea behind it was so strong. Mindfreak knew that he had to play his life, to play their teammate had to play his life so that Mindfreak could rotate off the Cosmic to go into the ace side. And although that play at the end of it didn't necessarily work out, the idea still sticks where they know based on the situation what to do, and I feel like that comes from a lot of experience.
It really does. And going back to your point earlier, wherein PaperX was just so good at not over-aggressing or moving too forward. On the other side, there were instances wherein Team Secret was actually doing this. And you know what, Trix? PaperX made sure to punish them every time they'd go over the line.
I felt PaperX also understood where their angles were open and giving up space. One of the things about watching PaperX is that, yes, you might find that there's an opening there, but that does not mean that it's a safe opening for you to take on. Because usually, more often than not, they're going to take it back, or it's because they have so much more map control somewhere else.
Yeah, map control is a thing that I feel like on the side of Team Secret, unfortunately for them, was a bit lacking. We know that they normally win most of their Ascent maps on the attack, and choosing to be attackers first, PaperX really put them on the back foot from the start, forcing them to play that defensive role, even though their lineup seems to be a more aggressive type. And I feel like it's not the cleanest that we've ever seen Team Secret play so far. There are a lot of times that they got caught out of position. Jesse Vash in particular had a lot of moments where he had his drone out, assuming that his teammate was far forward enough to cover him, but because of the angles, etc., he wasn't fully covered, and he was a free kill for a lot of the time. So it's not the Team Secret that I'm used to seeing that has got here. So hopefully they start putting a lot of these little adjustments, because they really do matter at the end of the round.
It really did. On the other side of Team Secret, as you said, wasn't too clean on their end. However, PaperX, that was a clean run for them. You gotta admit that. It was really, really clean. I mean, I gotta commend Forsaken here too, Fluffy, because all of those wide swings have... I don't know where he musters the courage to do so, but it was always clean every single time. The crispy aim paired with that bravery, it gets you so far.
True. I think that Benkai as well is another player that I'd like to highlight. Maybe on the kills in particular, he doesn't have the highest, but he helps his team so much. His presence overall in the map allows his team to stack on certain sites on the defense. And on the offense, he really provides a lot more pressure with the Prowlers especially. And when Jing goes for this explosive plays, he's always there to support him with the Haunt or some other form of utility, even combining his C's with the raised paint shells to really get a lot of these free kills and clear a lot of angles that we see on Ascent. We were talking a bit earlier about the difference between having that raise and that Jet. Jet is more clear cut. You know exactly what Jet is going to do. And I think at this point in Valorant, a lot of the off angles that we're used to seeing Jets get a lot of free picks are kind of a bit more calculated. You have to be way more careful. Whereas with Raze, you can always rely on that explosive utility to flush players out, and it worked out very well for PaperX in this one.
I loved seeing PaperX really bring to life not just a combination of Raze and Fade, but also showing us once again, because Raze and Astra used to be a potent combination, and they're putting it back on the map saying it's still very much potent. And I find that I love seeing that, and I loved seeing it on Ascent, just the way they were able to take so much space. All of the players on Paper X really outshining and outperforming each other in different times of the maps, and I just love it. It's such good Valorant.
Yeah, but on the other side of things, I hope that Team Secret does make all the necessary adjustments because we saw the effort coming out from Borkum with Dubstep, Dispenser, Jesse Vash, all of them, and now that they're moving into Bind, hopefully everything does pay off.
Maximum hopium on the side of Fluffy over here, but
Maximum hopium.
as you mentioned, Trix, we are going to be going over to Bind. We've touched up on the subject a little bit, but we're starting to see the compositions come to life. And right there, just as Raph had hoped, a little bit of Yoru on one side and a Yoru on the other side.
Actually, the moment they saw Breach out, I figured that they were going to put the Yoru because they used the Breach with the Yoru as well. So yes, we have that double initiator, double duelist on Paper Rex. We've got a more standard approach with a double duelist, at least on Team Secret side. I am excited. I really want to know how both of these teams have learned to play with a Yoru. I feel that we don't see Yoru enough on a higher tier of Valorant, and there's so much mobility with that agent, so much that you can do with them, but I feel it needs a specific kind of team. What about you, Fluffy?
I think that Yoru is something that is not something that we see very often, so I really want to highlight it again and say that Yoru really has that ability to play a lot of mind games. We know that because of the agent's design, but also specifically here on Bind, just being able to trigger so many sound cues is just something that I think can make a lot of teams feel really anxious. But that being said, though, and knowing that Team Secret took inspiration from Paper X, I feel like they also know the ins and outs of how the composition works. It's about how they use it in effect. And a big difference between both the compositions is the difference in not only the initiator, but also the fact that on the side of Team Secret, they don't really have the best hard sentinel. Yes, it is a killjoy. Yes, it's very good. But with the breach on the opposing side on Benkai, I feel like it can really reduce its effectiveness. And that being said, again, for the Paper Rex squad, they actually don't have a hard sentinel or any sentinel at all. They're going to be relying on the classic Paper Rex aggro style that we saw on the previous map. A lot more contact plays from them, and I feel like, especially for the Paper Rex team, they're going to be using the Yoru to take a lot more space than Team Secret would prefer.
Going back to their point wherein Yoru is an agent, that has a lot of sound cues. Paper X is pairing him up with Fade, which is the anti-sound cue agent over here. So you won't be hearing where Yoru can actually teleport once she puts out the Nightfall and the other abilities that she has. So gotta watch out for that one on the side of Team Secret. But if we get to see the same Paper X that we just saw over here on Ascent, then Team Secret is in a world of trouble over here. After all, Ascent was their map pick, and this is kind of like Paper X's territory. But yes, folks, game number 2 is on the way, and Team Secret and Paper X are all fired up for this. VCT Masters is on the line for this victory, but a lot of mind games is due. So with that said, let's join our casters and teleport to Bind.
Game number 2 is gonna be Bind definitely. Gaya nga nasabi nating panelists, no? Ito nga yung mapa natin na susunod. This is gonna be Paper Rex's pick pagdating dito. Pero bago ang lahat, syempre kami nga pala magiging casters nyo for this series of the day. Theodore at Honey Glaze nga pala. Honey Grace, dalhan mo naman kami ng grasya nyo. Kasi kailangan nating makaabot ng 3 games. Ray, kung natutulog ka, gumising ka na. Kailangan ka na namin this time around. Lahat na ng pwede nating dito, idasal, ilalagay na natin sa lamesa para lang makuha natin yung ating match na ito, no? Dahil pupunta tayo sa Game 3, tandaan nyo yan.
Oroy, ang mga nakita natin
Dami,
mga
no?
agents dito na makakapasok in game number 2. So this is really exciting to see dahil nga this is one of those maps na talagang nagiging commendable yung Oroy pick, yung Yoru pick dito, especially for dubstep. At lalo na, dadaan natin dito na magkakaroon ng opportunity dito, especially ang players natin from Team Secret dahil they have the commendable playstyle with their synergy. Tapos yung mga timing pa and execution nila dito, reset ang kailangan nila Terror for this game number number 2.
Dalawang Yoru ang nakikita natin, gaya rin ng sabi ng panel, no? Ang daming creative plays na kaya mong gawin sa isang Yoru. Ang agent selection na meron dito for the side of Team Secret, medyo standard lang din. Very typical sa nakikita natin sa bind specifically. And also for the side of PRX, naglabas din sila ng breach dito. So, and especially with the fade, this can be an aggressive move para sa PRX side. Tingnan natin dahil magsisimula na tayo sa pistol. Isang mabilis ang takbo with Stevie ni Brimy, pero tamang shock dart lang din. Harap-harapan. Nasa harap din si Uroy. Ayun na nga si Dubstep with a double kill. And Jing was able to shut him down, pero isa pa ang nag-aabang sa Gedli. That's gonna be Jessie Bash. Hindi niya makita ang kalaban, pero makakapatay pa rin siya ng isa. The Vi, already low on HP, pero nandito na sila sa B. Tamang TP lang din. Papuntang A, pero meron abang sa kanilang rotation. That's gonna be Jeremy.
Makakapasok nga sila kaagad dito ng isang site, pero magiging problema niya dito is yung mga utility, syempre, natitira pa ni Dispenser. He needs to clutch this out sa end. I think he might be able to dahil dalawang bala na kaagad ang nawawala dito for Benkay. Tatlo na lang ba din? Wala ang kulang sa kanya. But now, magtitipin na naman siya. Ala kaya di ha! Makapasok at makakapag-rotate siya going into B. Pero ang magiging problema niya dito, again, is Dispenser na nag-aabang na rin sa kanya. He knows where he is coming from, pero down to 65 HP na rin kasi dito si Dispenser. Kaya naman ngayon, hintay na lang din yung tropa niya dito. Borcom, nasan ka na, tol? Kailangan na natin hanapin dito si Benty dahil he is slowly pushing all the way from defender spawn naman.
Ang rotations ni Benkay dito is yung goal niya makakuha ng isang pitas bago siya mag-plant ng spike. Kaso nga lang, crossfire. May nahaharangan naman siya kahit papano. Lumabas siya. Alam niya yung location ng dalawang remaining players. But play for time ang meron dito for the side of Team Secret. Benkay going down and Team Secret finally gets a pistol round away from PRX's side.
Nagpatuloy lang ng paikot-ikot dito ang PRX. Diyan lang sila magaling guys sa paikot-ikot pero makukuha pa rin ng Team Secret itong round na ito. Ultimong hindi nga makita dito nila Jessbash kung sino ba yung makakalaban at nakakapag-push na all the way from Bilong at dagdagan mo pa dito ng mga pang-bait tactics na ginawa kanina ni Dubstep para magkaroon ng advantage dun sa mga nagpo-push and Bilong. And now, 1-0 na kagad. Next month tayo, game number 3, Charis. Pero meron na dito mga Vice, Terror, Spectres. Ang mapangawakan ngayon ng Team Secret against PRX.
Si Jessie Vash, tamang ano lang din eh. Si Q-Guard ang galawan. Nasa beach siya, nakastack siya kasama ni Dubstep doon. Pero mukhang sisilip na nga dito. Jing was able to get a kill, pero sasagot din naman si Borcom with his kill for himself. Ang kaso nga lang, naikutan na sila ni Forsaken. This can be deadly for the side of Team Secret. Walang may alam na nandito na si Forsaken. Buti na lang, shorty lang ang hawak niyan. Pre, ang kaso nga lang, syempre, baka matagasan na nga. Ito na nga una nakakita. That's gonna be Dubstep going down. It's still a 3v2 situation, but Forsaken finally has a gun right now. He has a Vandal na kayang tapat yung mga baril ng Team Secret. They have to be really careful. Wala pa namang nakakakuha ng spike dito. Hawak-hawak ni Borcom yan. Aside from that, there is still a shock dart and a recon that can be used, but other than that, wala na.
Vandal lang ang hawak dito ni Forsaken ngayon, pero Benkay makukuha na kaagad ang kanyang bangkay. Borcom naman dito for the follow-up, but now it's already 4K for Borcom. Will it be an ace? Wide swing dito? 4 HP na lang ang natitira talaga. Gumugusto ka ba? Borcom dito, reposition na lang din kaagad. He knows where the spike is, pero ngayon magrarana and gun siya.
30 seconds left.
From Forsaken,
What the play?
nakalimutan natin kung saan nakapwesto dito yung DP niya, but now he is down to 4 HP remaining. Clutch this one out.
Oh no! Nakabuelo ng TP si Forsaken. Ang kagandahan naman dito sa round na to, 4 HP remains para sa kanya. Tamang crossfire na naman ang magiging setup ng Team Secret. One is gonna be on hookah and the other is gonna be on the CT side. Forsaken, low na HP na. Si Borcom, back na yan, sir. Hindi na kailangan makita bago barilin. Alam niya na yung magiging positioning with a 4 HP remaining. This can be still doable on the side of PRX. Pero si Jessie Vash, makakagamit nga dito ng recon. Baka sakaling makita. It's still Forsaken's round. He took 4 upon this and Team Secret, naikutan sila.
It became deadly terror nung naikutan ka agad dito si Dubstep na siya mismo yung may hawak ng Vandal. Kaya naman ngayon, Forsaken had the advantage to take down players from the side of Team Secret at hindi ka agad sila nakaamba dahil nga may TP pa siyang kasama. Although nakuha nila dito si Benkay, may TP nga ditong biglang lumitaw na lang din going into B, going into hookah at yun ang naging advantage dito ni Forsaken to win out his duels na na-isolate niya. 1-1 is our scoreline. Eco na ngayon ang Team Secret.
All because he was able to control lamps nang walang nakapansin. Dahil lang doon, kaya nagbago ang lahat. Pero dito muna tayo sa panibagong round. Maaaring hindi nakuha ng Team Secret yung pangalawa, pero hindi pa naman tapos ang lahat. Jing already getting one here for Forsaken to shut down Jesse Vash as well. Dalawang naka-shorty. That's gonna be Dispenser and Jeremy. Ang kaso nga lang, tatlong players ng Team Secret. Rotations nila all the way from A side. Rinig na rinig sila dito ng players ng Paper Rex. Nag-aabang na rin sila kung kailan sila papasok. Low on HP na rin si Dispenser. Pati na rin si Jeremy with 66 HP remaining. Nasa kaliwa lang pala si Jeremy dito. Ang kaso hindi na kaya. Pagdating sa reload ng kanyang baril. Defy! Right around the corner. Si Dispenser na lang ang natitira.
Oh, tapos shorty lang din ang gamit niya. Pero at least nagantihan niya. Ngayon si Forsaken na shorty niya yung tropa niya dito. Ako naman ang bahala. We have now here the number still advantage of the side of Paper Rex. Pero shorty lang din ang hawak dito ni Dispenser. Baka matagpuan pa nga dito ng shorty.
Damot?
Sige,
Dinala yung
damot
baril.
ka. Sige.
Sige, damot nyo. Wag na lang. Kailangan mamatay ni Dispenser sa round na to. Kaya naman, expected na magsistay siya on the site itself for the spike detonation. Ang round na ito mapupunta sa Paper Rex. But if you can remember, syempre, Team Secret side, this is gonna be their buy round. Kanina, tamang eco sila doon dahil na-counter, ano sila eh. Na-counter agad yung first 2 rounds nila.
Nalikuran na rin, finally, si Forsaken ni Jeremy. Nadali si Forsaken doon. Parang nang ginawa niya lang din kanina dito against Dubstep. But this was really one of a hellish round dito against Paper Rex. But now, pwede na nila maambahan dito ang PRX. Half an armors lang dito ang mapagkukumitan ngayon ng Team Secret. But now, kailangan nilang kabahan sa mga magiging push ngayon ni Jing. There is a pop flash again coming from Forsaken. Pero mau-hold back pa rin naman sila dito with that pain shells. We have also as well controllers. Pero wala naman PDX Forsaken. Mabubulaga ka agad dito. Manlilikuran. Sina Dispenser and Jeremy. Nakatulong members agad ang players from Team Secret. Pero makakakuha naman dito with Borko. Forsaken naman dito. On the other hand, grabe lang din talaga yung hyper-aggressiveness. Doesn't get in that info.
They have all the utilities. They have the agents to be aggressive anyway. So why not? Yan ang sabi ng mga players ng Paper Rex. Si Jesse Vash ang makakatapat nila dito. 1 down para sa kanila. But they're trying to fight down on B site itself. Nasa likuran lang si Dubstep. They don't know this yet or they are quite aware dahil nga rin tumatakbo si Dubstep. Kaya naman, dalawa laban sa isa. They might go for a TP. Rotating all the way to A site. And yun na nga ang gagawin ng Paper Rex.
Ang Paper Rex dito, talagang gamit na gamit yung bind. TP dito, TP doon, TP mamaya, TP bukas. But now, Hunt will be the reason kung bakit madedelay dito sa Dubstep sa pang-clicking push niya to delay. And to counter out that possible plant na gagawin na ngayon ng Paper Rex. Kahit na magiging dalawa ito, makaka-isolate na nga siya ng isa. The blind is still in favor of Benkai. Pero ang wise yun na ito ang magiging reason kung bakit makukuha pa rin ng Paper Rex itong round na ito. 2 round lead na makukuha ng PRX pero hanggang dyan na lang dapat ito. Team Secret, unfortunately, eco round na naman sila, Taylor.
Di nga sila nanalo pagdating sa round na yun. Ang daming utilities na pwedeng ilabas ng Paper Rex. Aside from that, every angle is checked here. For Paper Rex's side, wala silang binibitawan dito kahit anong angulo. Even on that last moment, syempre, Benkai just waiting patiently kasi nga naka-crossfire na naman yung Fade. And once the Fade goes down, syempre siya rin ang susunod na si Silip. Another round for Team Secret na nasa eco disadvantage nila. This eco will, or rather, this drone recon, makakakita rin ng ibang mga players. Mag-shutdown din naman agad-agad. Dubstep, he goes down already. The satchel in place are already here. Jing already clearing up the site. Pero wala pa rin na mas pataan na Team Secret. 3 sa kanila ay nasa A. Kaya naman tamang rotate lang mula dito sa mga players na to. Borkum, he will be spotting one. And the Vi is finally down para sa kanila. May orbital strike pa na pwedeng gamitin si Borkum. Pero hinahanap niya pa rin yung isang pwedeng mapitas. Nakaisa na nga siya. But this pop flash from Benkai will kill him off. 2 laban sa 3 meron tayo dito. Dahil sinusubukan pa rin ng Team Secret makuha. Ang kaso nga lang Forsaken. Perfect ang kanyang angle na hinahawakan for the entry of Team Secret. 4-1.
What a thrifty round yun, Taylor. Hindi nakabuelo kaagad ang Paper Rex to get inside of the site. At nakita pa natin dito na baluhan pa ng Stinger ang isang player here from PaperX, but really just the aggressiveness ng pagpasok dito nila Jing. Talagang nako-commit niya further sa mga satchel niya and availability ng mga utilities kasi ng mga tropa niya. We have a double initiator setup for them. They have so many blinds and they have so many utilities to cancel out those angles na gusto sanang panghawakan ng Team Secret. But now, ito na yung go signal. Kailangan na mag-reset ng Team Secret ngayon kung hindi masasayang na naman itong buy round nila at mapapersa sila Taylor for another eco round.
Kaya naman time out for Team Secret side. They have to go back to the drawing board and realize na what can we do to make a play and make the defense more tougher on the side of PaperX? Kasi kung mapapansin nyo, especially with the Euro pick here coming in from Forsaken na nasa duelist role na muli, yung mga TP out niya na pwedeng gamitin na nasa site lang din, no? Doon nagsisimula yung mga rotations ni Forsaken. Doon siya nakakakuha ng mga pick-off. Kaya nabubuksan yung site para sa buong team ng PaperX. Aside from that, syempre, kapag si Jing nag-satchel in play na rin, lalo na lagi siyang nakakakuha ng kills, pati na rin yung ultimate niya, alam mong mahihirapan talaga ang Team Secret on the defense. Wala silang magagawa kung hindi tumago.
Actually.
Pag nag-here comes the party na yan, literal lalabas sila sa party.
Oh, ay, mahihirapan ka talagang makipagduelo. Pero ngayon, Forsaken, medyo madidisrupt na nga yung kanyang angulo. We have here the decoy, blinds, and the TP. Dispenser naman ay makakakuha na finally ng isa. Matatagpuan ng Recon, pero may ultimate kasi rin siyang kasama. So now he's already inside. Face your fear! This time, yung mga players kasi ng Team Secret ngayon, isa lang yung nagde-defend. Inside of Buka dito, it's already taken by the opportunity of the Prowler. Pero Forsaken dito, he did not miss out that shot against Dubstep. 4v4, but still doable for Team Secret to hold on to the members of PaperX. Pero ngayon nagkakabaliktaran ng Taylor dahil nasa loob ng site. Parang nagde-defend na nga dito si Forsaken against the side of PaperX. But this time they are blinded by the lights. But Spencer dito makakakuha na finally ng isa kasi kumukulit na nga siya. PVT ang magiging numbers advantage dito ngayon, but make it a 2v3 dahil ngayon sabay ang nakakabuenos na rin ng isa.
Ginamit na rin yung orbital strike ni Burkum. At dalawang players ang natitira dito. It's up to Jeremy and Burkum to make a play happen right here. Jeremy on city side habang nasa elbow naman yung isa. Left. It's still a 3v2 situation. Habang nagbabantay yung isa dito sa likuran, may showstopper na nga. Ang kaso hindi magko-connect. Nasa corner pala nagtatago. It's still around for PaperX and hindi lang dahil sa post-plant na meron ang PaperX kaya sila nanalo dito, but the usage of a gate crash, the dimensional drift coming in from Forsaken. Tingnan nyo naman tong play na to, napakaganda. Walang kaalam-alam si Dubstep na nasa likuran niya na. Walang may alam literal sa Team Secret. Ganun mag-Yoro.
Team Secret dito kung paano gamitin at paano na nga dito nakabuenas ng ikot si Forsaken. Binaypass niya yung mga nag-hold into A. Nakuha niya yung mga attention dito ng mga nag-hold into Bats. Pero nung nakita na nga natin yung ultimate ng Nightfall na ginamit ko sa hookah, ayun na ang time ni Forsaken na kaagad.
Antayin nyo lang si Dubstep kapag nasa attackers na. Huwag kayong mag-alala. Kaya niya rin yung mga play na yan. Kaso mapipitas na nga dito. Una na mapipitas is of course Jesse Bash. Tama lang din ang positioning dito ng isang Killjoy. Ang kaso nga lang, munti ka na hindi tumama yung mga bullets na yan. 3 bullets remaining on this Vandal. Pero wala na rin namang masaspatan si Dispenser dito on the corner. It's still a 4v4 situation. At kitang-kita rin naman natin nasa eco disadvantage na naman ang Team Secret. Hindi sila makahanap ng space kung kailan sila makakakuha ng magandang buy round.
So ayan na, we have here the gate crash, we also have here the dimensional dip, pero may tigwan makakakuha na kaagad ng dalawa. Canceling out those really potential gagawin na ngayon ng Team Secret, but they just did it all with the spray and pray. PaperX still does it with the commanding lead na naman dito against the side of Team Secret. 1-6 is our scoreline.
Grabe si Bengkay, may kasamang dasal yung pagsispray niya doon na sana tumama. May pick-off na nakuha si Dispenser dito, but other than that, syempre, nakaabang na rin sa post-plant itong mga players ng PaperX, especially they have the man advantage as well comparing to Team Secret side. Pati na rin yung gun advantage nasa kanila rin during that time. 6-1 ang score natin dito. Ladies and Gents, syempre, upper bracket natin to, kaya tingnan natin kung makakabawi pa rin ang Team Secret. Prowler being used already here on Hookah. Makikita nila at least yung ibang mga players. Ginamit na rin yung Longadok ni Jessie Bash. Tatama ba para sa huling pahapyaw? Hindi nga lang makukuha yung kill. At least leaving them with some of a, or a little bit of a damage.
At least na-burst down na nila dito yung HP kaagad ng Team Secret. Pero itong na sila bumabelo. We have the Rolling Thunder to get in the advantage, to get inside of the side. Nandito naman din sa Orbital Strike to clear things out. Pero wala naman dito magagawa pa. Yung dispenser naman lang kamalay-malay mapapatay na nga dito ni Benkay. Pero with that being said, with the utility to push nila dito against PRX. Ito na ngayon na naman ang go signal ng PRX to at least go in for the TP. Umigit na naman going into A. May dimensional drift na naman dito from Forsaken to
Grabe
get
mag-farm ng orb
Pero
to.
sa ngayon, wala pang nangyayari. Wala pa siya nakikita. Ngayon pa lang, tatlo. Kaagad laban sa Team Secret.
Sinubukan yung fault line pero hindi rin naman magkoconnect kay Forsaken. He got the info already. Tatlo sa city mga kaibigan. Habang nagro-rotate na yung Raze, nasa likuran nila dito si Jing. This is gonna be deadly for the side of Team Secret. One goes down and the rest is history. Jeremy still alive and kicking. Sumusubok pa rin. Pero kailangan niyang mag-retake dito against 4 other people. The Vi hops out and this is still doable. 1v2. Ang kaso nga lang, magsasave na lang ata dito si Jeremy for the next round dahil magiging eco disadvantage na naman.
Tito, pasensya na mga tito. Kulang na lang din
Ang
talaga
gandun
sa
lang
oras.
tito
Pero ngayon,
eh.
on the
Uy, may
hunt
isa pa.
na ngayon si Forsaken. Gumugusto pa siya. Pero unfortunately dito for Jeremy, nabigla na rin siya dito against Forsaken. Hindi niya pinagbigyan. Ang ganda na lang din talaga, Taylor. Mga tito, pasensya na. Nahuli pa tayo ng isa. 7-1 ang nakuha na ngayon ng PRX laban sa kanila.
Excited na ako sa swap ng side. Kasi ito mga Euro play talaga pagdating sa attackers. Mainit-init talaga yan kasi nakakaikot talaga, nakakagawa ng space para sa respective teammates. Pero ang ganda talaga ng pinapakita ni Forsaken dito eh. Siya talaga yung main creator of space. Aside from that, the play itself, sa kanya nagre-revolve for the side of PRX. At syempre, for Team Secret, kailangan nilang patatagin yung depensa dito. Lahat ng aim duel, minsan hindi rin sila nananalo, no? So, with this, the shock dart, it connects to Jing kahit pa paano. Ang kaso nga lang, babatuhan rin siya ng pain shells. Mapapaatras ang isang player ng Team Secret dito, which is Jessie Vash. Pero this is a big rotation coming in from Jeremy. He spots 3 players here. Nabagsak na nga ang spike. Kaso 1 is all he gets. Jessie Vash was able to secure 1 2-2 trade for the side of Team Secret. Tamang TP out lang din para kina Forsaken at kay Mindfreak. Makakapag-setup sa nila ng smoke dito. Nilabas na nga ni Brimstone ng kanyang iPad. Nasa kanila ang spike. But this, of course, a Molly right upon them. Kailangan nilang pasukin. Forsaken, napakatapang mo naman, sir. Naghahanap na naman dito. Jessie Vash nasa corner lang pero hindi na niya kailangan makita. Another wallbang for Forsaken right here. 3v2 sees upon on Borko. Alam nila ang positioning pero that stinger kill is still gonna connect. Forsaken and the Vi ang natitira for the side of PRX. Makakapag-plant sila ng spike dito completely.
Naku, manguhuli pa nga kaagad dito ng Nightfall si Dispenser at fortunately wala siya maririnig ngayon kaya naman this is
Nasa
the
kanya pa yung
advantage
spike.
for Forsaken na makapag-rotate at mahuli na nga siya dito by the timing na makita na nga niya yung spike. He has the spike already been compromised but the problem is Forsaken pa rin naman ang natitira. With that white wing, makukuha pa rin nila itong round na ito for this half. 8-1 is our scoreline ngayon for PRX at talagang kumpiyansa na silang ma-secure itong half na ito kaagad.
Grabe. Forsaken literally is a guy without fear. Kahit na merong molly na ilalabas yung Brimstone dito, wala siyang pakialam sa nararamdaman ng lahat. Ang importante para sa kanya, pumunta ng site, buksan yon para sa ibang teammates. Actually, pag sinilip niyo yung keyboard ni Forsaken, walang letter S eh. Puro W lang yung keyboard niyan, guys. WAD lang.
Kung makikita niya yung trauma niya dito, yung mga teammate niya dito going into B side sa isang angle na sa isang site na hindi niya pala dito kinukuha, hindi na siya aatras, dire-diretso lang siya. Pupunta siya sa defender spawn para doon na lang din tumulong.
Meron na
pero
naman siyang
speaking of
ulti,
Forsaken,
Honey Grace.
meron na naman siyang
May
ulti,
dimensional
Forsaken.
drift na naman si Forsaken dito. Kailan ba mawawala ng ultimate yan si Forsaken? Lahat ng kills, lahat ng orb, pinafarm niya.
Alam niya kasing siya ang may advantage once na makakuha siya ng info dito with that dimensional drift. At dagdagan mo pa ng mga crazy plays dito, especially nung kanyang mga decoys, yung mga kanyang mga TP, gate crash, and speaking of, eto na naman siya. Papasok na naman siya ng site. May makukuha nga ba siyang info? Lamps agad ang iniikot niya. We have the flashes already ready para at least pagpasok na lang dito ng players from PRX. May advantage siya kaagad sila pero wala nga lang siyang nakita.
Ayaw na magpakita ng ibang members ng Team Secret dito. Alam nila na lumalabas yung mga info na kukuha ng PRX agad-agad dahil lang kay Forsaken. It's a 5v2 situation right now. Dubstep and Dispenser. Ako ay tunay na Dubstep Dispenser supporter. Kaya itong duo na to, naniniwala ako dito. Pero nga lang, syempre, pagdating sa positioning nila, mukhang it's gonna be just a save right now. On the next round though, magkakaroon ng ultimate si Dispenser at kaya nilang mag-play for retake dito. Maybe they're doing a play for retake, lalo na unang napita si Borkum, habang yung ibang mga members nag-aantay na lang talaga ng rotations. Kaso hindi talaga kaya.
Numbers advantage na lang din kasi talaga ang meron dito for PRX. They're not doing any much further things to do to cancel out or to have those exit frags. Pero ang nakita lang din talaga natin dito is yung explosiveness ni Forsaken na dagdagan mo pa ng pang-disrupt dito ng attention ni Jing. We have here the dimensional depth na nagiging reason nga dito for Forsaken to get in a lot of info. Tapos alam pa ng PRX dito kung ano yung kailangan na tulong dito ni Forsaken once na pumasok siya ng site. Tingnan mo naman, sobrang jumpy dito si Forsaken to get in those advantage with their duels at tapos pa dito yung pagpasok na sila Jing to secure in heaven. But that is again, the attacker composure dito kasi na meron dito ang lineup din ng PRX.
Kasi kung iisipin mo, kailangan mo i-shutdown si Forsaken. Yoru yan. Ito na naman, pasok na naman siya sa site. Pero this time, mauhuli na siya ni Borkum. Here comes the party. Ang sabi ng Raze, tatama ba ang showstopper? That is the showstopper of Jeremy connecting to Jing. Mindfreak on the other hand was able to take a kill on Dubstep. Mabilis ang rotation on the side of PRX. Mukhang it's gonna be a B hit. Ang nag-aabang naman dyan is gonna be Jesse Vash kahit papaano. Itong tatlong stack sa A, syempre kailangan na rin mag-rotate really soon. Ang kaso nga lang, pagdating dito sa mga playstyle ng PRX, mainit na mainit pa rin. At least wala na yung dalawang duelist.
Mababagana sila.
One down!
Yes, pauuluhan naman deadly Jessica. One member down. Make it a 2v3 at the very moment. Orbital strike pa. Baka kapag-cancel out dito sa PRX ngayon na makapag-plant. Mindfreak nga lang dito ang nakapag-abang nakaagad sa hookah. Pero hindi niya alam na meron na nga makakapaglikod sa kanya.
Jeremy, saksakin mo!
Ibawi
mo ang Pilipinas!
PRX ngayon. But now it's all up to the Vi. And Jeremy dito, bumaba na nga dito. And that is a clutch! Finally for Team Secret to make it at 2-9 scoreline. Condolences!
Kita nyo naman, 9-2 lamang ang Team Secret pagdating sa saksak. Huwag kayong mag-alala, kakambak tayo lalo na pag nag-swap ng side kapag pwede na ring iikot yung Yoru ni Dubstep. Huwag kayong mag-alala. Hindi na makakaikot yan si Forsaken.
Exactly.
Ang hirap kasi talaga yung mga setup dito ng players ng PRX. Isipin mo, hahanapin ka ng feed, tapos meron ka pang mga fault line, hindi guiding light, pero flashpoint na pwedeng paglaruan. Pero ginripuhan. Alam nyo na kung sino nagturo, si Tito Vash. Sabi niya, Tito, nakita mo yung ginawa ko? Ginaya lang kita.
Tito!
Okay lang yan, at least nakasaksak tayo, guys!
Oo.
Yun
Dagdag
ang
mo
importante.
na rin yan, guys. Maabot lang natin ito to a 9-3 at talagang gising na rin si Rayden. Nakita ko na siya comments secure. Ito na ang 9 triggers na pwedeng ibigay ng Team Secret pero this time kailangan muna nilang mabaluhan kaagad dito ang PRX. Forsaken dito, tutukulin na nga rin kaagad dito yung Zilong. You will be getting in no info pero hulaga na lang din sa'yo. Serve! Dubstep dito malilikuran na nga siya. We have here 2 members down already for the side of PRX pero unfortunately dito kay Jessica, hindi siya naging ready kay Jing. 3v3 at the very moment pero this time Jing is already inside of the site. Tapos dito pa yung follow na binigay ni Benkai.
Slowly but surely, nalalaman na ng Team Secret yung mga rotations dito. Now, that the lockdown has been set and has been placed. Meron pang pwedeng gamiting aftershock ata dito si Benkay, pero malayo-layo siya. Kailangan umatras ng PRX right now. This can give the opportunity for Team Secret side, pero nakahanda na rin ang langit-ngit ng papag dito para sa PRX. Alam nilang may ultimate to, kaya medyo masakit yan. Ito na nga, inabangan. At syempre, masastuck sa loob ng tube si Jeremy, habang yung isang player natin syempre si Dispenser kailangan niya makahanap ng pick-up pero wala talagang sumisilip. Tiis Pogi pagdating sa pagdadifuse ng spike pero hindi pa rin tumama yung shots na yan pagdating sa aim duel. 2-10 ang score natin.
2-10. Galit natin paninindigan na makakabawi ngayon ng Team Secret. 2-10 lang yan. Kayang-kayang habulin ngayon ng Team Secret, lalo na nakabuelo. At ito na, ang pagpasok na natin into the attacker side of this half. We just have here the replay kung saan nakabuelo talaga sila na tama kaagad with Jin and Benkay. Dahil nga, nakapasok kaagad sila ng site. Walang nakakuha ng info, walang nakakuha ng advantage against him dahil nga sa mga flights na ginawa niya and the additional flashpoints pang ina-assist ni Benkay against the players of Team Secret. Kaya naman hindi nila ngayon alam ang uunahin. Tingnan natin ngayon kung Gucci-licious ba ang ganitong klaseng lineup composition ngayon ng PRX na tatlo or dalawa yung kanilang ngayon, initiator at dalawang duelist.
Actually, during the latter part of the rounds na nakita natin, especially the rounds that they were able to take for the side of Team Secret, na-figure out na nila kung paano ma-shutdown to si Forsaken. Nakikita kasi nila kung saan yung TP pumupunta Like what Dubstep did a while ago. Nakita nila yung TP on the Octa. Walang reaction at all from Dubstep because he knows. He is 100% sure na magti-TP doon si Forsaken and he was able to take on the kill. Ang kaso nga lang, for the last one on the B-long, hindi niya rin nakuha yung kill na yan, no? But, the important part here, magsaswap na tayo ng side. Aside from that, syempre yung second half pistol round natin.
Yun ang kailangan ngayong ipagpatuloy ng Team Secret para maiabutan nila kaagad ngayon ng mga rounds, ng mga lead dito ang PRX. We can still hope for the best here for Jeremy and Dubstep dahil nga syempre, katulad na lang din ang mga ginagawa ng PRX kanina. Makikita natin yung wise and yung mga crazy plays na pwedeng execute dito nila Dubstep. Getting an info with his dimensional drift. There's also Jeremy naman dito with the flights na makapasok na lang din sa site at makakuha ng info. So, with that being said, they can ultimately destroy the players from PRX once na makuha nila yung footing nila dito against PRX.
At syempre, back to the drawing board naman. Paano na naman natin siya-shutdown dito? Sobrang pop-off na si Forsaken at mag-iiba na naman ang mga strat play dito. Pero syempre, sana di mawala ang mental fortitude pagdating sa Team Secret side. Nasakmal si Jeremy nung Prowler. Pero si Jing, nahuli na rin si Jessie Vash. Tambahan. It's gonna be Jeremy going down. It's still a 5v3. And Dubstep, Dispenser, Borkum. Maaari pa sila makapag-set up ng smoke dito. May mga utilities din na pwede pang laruin. Kaso nga lang mapapabagsak na rin si Dispenser. Rotations coming in for the side of Team Secret here with the last two remaining players. But 5 more para sa side ng PRX. This is gonna be really difficult.
Kailangan makahanap ng isa dito si Dubstep pero mabibiluan kaagad ng timing dito ni Forsaken. They were able to compromise in the position of the spike and it's all up to Borkum time to make things happen, to clutch this one out. Alam niya kung saan manggagaling dito si Forsaken kaya yun ang inaabangan niya pero yung utility na umuulan sa kanya magiging disadvantage against the remaining players from PRX. 11-2 is our scoreline ngayon at by na ang gagawin ngayon dito na PRX to win out continuously at hindi na palamangin ng kahit anong loss pa dito ang Team Secret.
Sabi nga ni Georgie, okay lang daw na 0-2 basta nagripuhan itong mga PRX. Pero wag kayong mawalan ng pag-asa dahil syempre, nakita na natin tong storya na to. Bren Esports pa lang ang Team Secret. Natalo din tayo pagdating sa upper bracket pero tayo ang nagwagi sa Grand Finals. Tandaan nyo yan, hindi pa tapos ang lahat. Pinoga sa mukha. Yun nga lang si Jeremy ang unang mapapabagsak. Tamang puro flash lang ang nakita dito. Naubos lahat. Masakit sa ulo. Kamot-ulo tayo muna ng saglit.
Pigilin niyo nga ang ginawa dito ni Kuya
Aray ko
mo Forsaken. Makapangdali, makapangboga ng Team Secret. Hindi naka-react. Wala silang kamalay-malay. Dahil dalawa yung flashes naging ready sa kanya. Fortunately dito kay Jeremy, alam ka ni Forsaken kung paano siya dadalihin. At kaya naman ngayon, ang sakit sa damdamin, sa isipan, sa
Grabe.
lahat-lahat na.
Forsaken.
Team Secret ngayon, nadadali sila doon.
Anong pinakain nyo dito? Parang adik na adik sa Valorant to Tipong ultimo, paggising niya hanggang panaginip, Valorant yung nilalaro niya. Diyos ko Lord, di mo mapigilan. That's the fake. And syempre, ito na naman siya. Binoga na naman ng mga players ng Team Secret sa may dimensional drift para hanapin ang lahat. Meron pa siyang pwedeng gamiting flash dito. At syempre, si Borkum na nga. At ito na naman ang Boga mode. Pero sasagutin ni Borkum. Mindfreak was able to take on the trade. Kaso nga lang, dalawang players na lang natitira for Team Secret side. It's Dubstep and Jesse Vash.
Dubstep dito, meron pa naman siyang Vandal na kasama. But the problem is the numbers are just in favor. TikTok ka pa dyan. Huli ka boy! But unfortunately, hindi nag-connect yung mga
Spain na walang S!
dito against the Bears of PRX. 19 HP na lang ang natitira ngayon for Jesse Bash to make things happen. Tatlo pa ang buhay sa kabila. Paano na ito, Taylor? Lalo na mapupugalaga. Siya ng mga players
Defenders win.
Mindbreak needs it with its 4K. Pero worry not, my friends and everyone na nanonood ngayon. Taylor, nabasa at napanood na natin ito. Mula pa nung kauna-unahan ditong stage all the way in favor of Team Secret para sila yung manalo sa Grand Champions.
Please lang, jowain nyo na si Forsaken, tas pagbawalan nyo mag-Valorant, utang na loob. Pigilan nyo tong taong to, napakainit para sa ating first o para sa series nila against Team Secret right here. No wonder they haven't been losing in the upper bracket right now dahil din sa pinapakita nila. But nevertheless, it was Forsaken's game. It was Forsaken's map altogether. He did everything for the entirety of the team. Kumbaga, yung 4 na players naging support role.
Ultimo yung mga naging dimensional drift niya, Terror. Talagang gamit na gamit. Yung tipis dito ng Vine, alam nila kung paano nila aabusuin. At ito daw kung paano maglaro ng Vine. Isipin mo, sa first half na yon, Terror, talagang nakailang TPN sila dito. Going into A, going into B. Kaya naman hirap na
Going
hirap
into
dito.
base.
Ano bang, oo, base. Diba? Yung mga ginagawa ni Forsaken, lahat na. Kaya naman nakakapangkamot ng ulo kung paano mo ba pipigilan dito si Forsaken. Pero ito ang naisusulat. 2-0 daw ang kailangan ng Team Secret para makakomeback in the lower bracket at umabot ng Grand Finals.
Nakita na natin tong storya na to. Babawi ang naapi. Tandaan niyo yan, Team Secret. Hindi pa tapos ang lahat. They're going to lower brackets, but of course, that's still not yet the end. Kumbaga, ito na yung sneak peek nyo pagdating sa Grand Finals, ladies and gents, dahil baka sila na naman yung magkatapat kung sakasakali. But ibig sabihin yan, meron na tayong magiging isang representatives for Masters. It's actually gonna be PRX. So congratulations, PRX. But right now, pupunta muna tayo sa short break. Syempre, after that, it's gonna be the panel in another series para sa lahat at pwede nyo pang mapanood. Don't go away because VCT Asia Pacific will be right back.
I do. I'm really here on my ones now instead of 4 3s or 2s, and now it's F from Paris. I could have been effing you in Paris. I don't wait for the drop. I just flow from the pop. For me, all the energy extra. You don't want to see me with the hip. Generations pull up, look how things will switch. People there quick, now they want to move on the bits. Boy, wanna go to a bitch, nah.
Working a 9 to 5, I had to go and feed the guys. Nobody did it right, I had to show them how to grind. I had to beat the odds, this is the life I live for God. Taking a step at a time, we going up, we headed to Mars. Taking them chances, making decisions, you know I'm never gonna lie. Till you let go, I'm copying all them, who you gon' be inside. I cannot fake it, I gotta face it, I gotta do the time. You gotta wait, make for a great pay, make sure you're doing your job. Gotta deal with the patience, 200 at every occasion. Going to different locations, how they got when I need some direction. Me and Vinci go up every session. Cook it up, yeah, you know it's no pressure. Yeah, you know how we do what we all in. We can slow up and you never catch us. Working a 9 to 5, I had to go and feed the guys. Nobody did it right, I had to show them how to grind. I had to beat the odds, this is the life I live for God. Taking a step at a time, we going up, we headed to Mars. You know my slimes, it came from the bottom to top. They can define us, they tryna find us. Boy, I know you with the ops. We're not the same, no, you can't compare me. I don't belong in the box. Don't try to play me, no, I'm not friendly. This is everything I got. Ain't no playing around, this is no playground. It don't matter, I do what I say now. I'ma go give them something to say now. Got them stuck on my back like a spray ground. See, easy, don't gotta complain. I'm a shooter, got eyes in my vein. They said that I would never make it, they thought I was crazy. They said I'm insane. Working a 9 to 5, I had to go and feed the guys. Nobody did it right, I had to show them how to grind. I had to beat the odds, this is the life I live for God.
Welcome back to VCT APAC Stage 2 Challengers. PRX, just an absolute behemoth of a team. They're insane, they're fantastic, they are explosive. PRX is looking so convincing right now, and Fluffy, they're going to Masters, and it feels like even there, they'll be an unstoppable force.
Not just that, it feels like a repeat of what happened the last time that these two teams met. And I just want to highlight a lot of the little micro decisions that especially PRX really brought into this game. Individually, they made so many correct small decisions that were so high impact, like when they choose to TP, when they used to use util for each other, how they clear all the corners regardless of what's happening. Just such good, careful, clean Valorant coming out from PRX. And I feel like the disruption coming out from that Euro pick on Forsaken really was the game changer against Team Secret. You know, Team Secret is used to playing a lot of these contact teams. I'm sure they're prepared for the Euro as well after doing the research, but having that Killjoy really was devalued a lot, because when the Yoru TP is floating around the map, it can't be spotted by that turret, and in combination with all the supporting utility coming out from PRX, it just felt very unstoppable at times.
I do also want to highlight that those Yoru plays, it was phenomenal. I did not know that that's how Yoru could be played. And I am glad that PRX went into that server and just showed me exactly how impactful and powerful a Yoru pick can be. Just the amount of space that he was able to create, the amount of times he was able to go back to the opponents. Forsaken was so creative with his abilities, but that's not the entire thing. We also had Jing being able to just go onto these angles alongside Forsaken. Bankai and Mind Freak as well, just being able to control areas, help get that pick and advantage that both of these duelists need, and Davai constantly getting that information.
Yeah, the team itself really supporting Yoru to be able to get that amazing 4.0 KDA for Forsaken. It seemed like they were such a big unit together, even on the pistol round, as we see here on the highlights for Bankai. He made so many small micro decisions when he chose not to use his flash, how he used his utility, and a lot of these things really mattered at the end of it.
It really did. Oh my goodness, the trust that these guys have with each other to be able to allow Forsaken to just kind of do whatever he wanted around the map, because this guy was all over the place. I gotta ask you, Trix, did you keep count of how many times he was able to use his ultimate?
I did not. Sometimes I'm looking at the match going on, I'm looking at the duels, and Forsaken's on the other side of the map. So I just started keeping track of where he would keep his teleport, and the amount of the utility that would come in, right? He would force the duels, he'd get all of the players on A side. There was one round that it was him, Brimstone, and one other player, and he just got everyone onto A and then TP'd to B and flanked the players that were going into A. And I just thought, how do you make that decision so quickly?
I guess that comes from experience, but being in the top teams that always played at the top level here. One of the very greatest teams that I've ever seen here on the APAC stage. PaperX really proving why they're currently at the top. And PaperX also, it's the entire team. You know, it's not just the Yoru flanks coming in. He
Yeah.
provides so much space for the team. I remember one round when he was using his ultimate, as we see here on the screen for the Yoru player himself, Forsaken. He was able to go all the way. I think they rotated from one side to the A side. And when they were in the A side, he used his ultimate to push back because they actually left Jing on that raise for the flank. So the pincer maneuver coming out from PaperX in multiple occasions and always being careful for their flanks.
Yeah.
Even their Brimstone holding all the way back in the attacker's spawn just to make sure that there will be no gaps in the gameplay of PaperX.
Definitely no gaps over there. I mean, round per round per round, PaperX just showing absolute dominance. Now, I do have to mention on the other side, of course, Team Secret, a lot of adjustments that they have to do. This was something that I guess they did not expect going up against PaperX. But again, this team is just something else. We talked about the unpredictability factor when it comes to PaperX, and they just showed it today. I don't think that any of the teams out here could have expected that this is the absolute explosion that they would be releasing. Now, you know, when it comes to this team, when they decide that they'll push aside, they just press W tricks, and their execution is so good that I don't even know what Team Secret should have done in those cases.
If there's anything that Team Secret could have improved on, I think it would be being a little more mobile on that Yoru, similar to the mobility that Forsaken was showing us on his Yoru. It just felt that you need to be a little more creative when you go against a team like PaperX and in their ability to open up the sites. The disadvantage that was on Team Secret side as well is that they didn't have the flash potential. Yes, there are the Yoru flashes, but PaperX was playing alongside that breach and alongside the fade. There was a lot of potential there, and I think when you create a roster with Yoru, you want to optimize and get the most value. And I feel that the lineup, the agent selection from PaperX definitely showed that they were optimizing it.
I'm sure they've run this countless of times and have come up with this great configuration where the backline can actually support from such a long range, be it from the breach flash or any of the utility, to safely clear the close corners, allowing Forsaken to make the moves that he needs to. And I like the change. You know, one big difference with initiators is we have the Fade and Yoru for the side of PaperX, but the Sova, I mean, for Jesse Vash with Dubstep's Yoru. And I think the big difference is that if you do get the Nightfall, and you do get any of these sound keys to be turned off, it just amplifies the power of that Yoru. But one thing I want to talk about Devi is how, or actually the team in general, is how they're not stingy at all with the utility. I even saw him use his Nightfall just for one person to get the Spencer out of position. They just need the momentum to win the round because they know that at the end of it, it's not a marathon, it's the race to 13, and every round they get counts.
Oh my god, and the race to 13 was like a speed run for these guys. Absolutely crazy. Now in the end, PaperX, something to look forward to. Every single team out here always says that they're looking out for this team, and after that performance, I can see why. But alas folks, this is where we close this series down. We'll be seeing more of PaperX and Team Secret as we move along over here at the knockouts. But for today, we're gonna be moving to our final series of the day, and once again, this is another elimination match. Do or die, make or break for these teams. And for the first team, for the final eliminations of the day, is a team that showed us their systematic ways. Calculated, precise, relaxed. That's the way this team goes. So let's reintroduce them once more. Here's Onyx G. I don't think that we were expecting to reintroduce any of the teams today, but I think it's a must. After all, the way they were earlier in their series, it just reflects on how much improvement they've made. And going up into another series, what it's again, Fluffy, what can we expect from Onyx G?
Well, hopefully we can expect them to carry the momentum they had early on. This squad that we just saw at the start of today, Elmi Monyet, NC Slasher, Shiro, and Severin, is just the type of squad that is always careful and calculated, as you mentioned. They really took it a step further against Alter Ego today, and being the Indonesian representative for their region, I feel like it's a lot of pressure for them right now, but I'm sure they're going to turn that into motivation as they will continue their lower bracket run and hopefully make it out.
That is the anxiousness speaking right there. A lot of these teams are just fighting every single time. I mean, that is the risk you're put at whenever you land into the lower bracket, right? Every single game is a do or die match. You can't really catch much of a breather over here. And looking at these guys right here, I feel like their game faces are on and they're just ready to put on a good show for us. But that's the least we can expect from Onyx G. Every single time they're out on the maps, we can see that they put their full potential on for the day, and I love it. I love it, Trix. And I'm really excited to go ahead and introduce as well the second team that will be stepping up to this other elimination game. Today, I can't believe that, you know, Onyx just survived that previous elimination match, and once again they're put at risk. Crazy. But that is the way the cookie crumbles here on the Knockouts, Trix.
That's true. Onyx taking out Alter Ego in order to get this spot. A little bit of a bittersweet maybe for them because that is their comrades that they had to knock out. But pulling through and finally coming onto this match, the last series of the day.
It is. So the second team that is going to be facing potentially elimination today is a team that's good at reading enemies and punishing them for their mistakes. So be careful when you go against them, because here they are once again, Cercia Esports. Trix, I know that our cameras may not be seen right now, but I can feel like you're smiling already just because you get to see another Cercia Esports match.
Yes, it's true. I am. I'm always excited to watch Cercia play. We've got Cruz, Foxy, Scary, Surf, and Sushi Boys players I don't think at this point that I need to reintroduce to you guys because they have just been performing. They have been showing up in every match, especially on the match against Bleed. That comeback that they had on the last map, pulling it to overtime and then closing it as well. Just phenomenal. I feel that Cercia coming in a little bit, sometimes it looks like they're uncertain, they're playing a little bit safe. But when they start getting put on in those pressure moments where they have to perform, where they really have to come up with something, true enough, they pull through. And I am so happy to have them on the series.
I mean, at the end of the day, even if you have a little bit of stumbles along the way, it's the end results that matter. And after that series that we just witnessed with them, they must be feeling so good right now. That should have been a huge morale booster for them. Getting a comeback, getting 6 rounds in when you were so close to the taste of defeat, and they just would not back down. And that's what we love to see from the teams over here, especially Cercia Esports, who really put that to the test. Now, we do have some featured players coming along. I love that we get to talk about some spectacular players, especially those that really make an impact for their teams. So here we are, Fluffy, going into the head-to-head. This isn't our normal head-to-head because we normally go for like those who have the same positions or same roles in the team. But we wanted to step it up a notch and actually feature players that really made an extra impact for their team.
Yeah, they might not have the same roles, but impact is something both these players have in common. We see the electrifying moments, especially on Fracture, coming out from Monye, and we also have the amazing Viper plays that we saw today from Scary. Both of these players really give their team the same thing. They give them confidence and space, and I feel like they're
Yeah.
very rewarded in that fact. That's why they're here for a head-to-head, not just now, but they've also in their own right been their own match MVP in their previous games. I feel like the common thing between these two players is that they're smart and they also have the aim to back it up. And I think those are two good qualities that you can have. And much like how we saw in the previous series, if you can do both and you can make decisions quickly, it can be the basically the important part of the kit that you need to help your team succeed.
Yeah, it can definitely turn the game around when you've got players like Monyet and Scary backing you up, or perhaps on the side of Monyet being the front liner for that
Yes.
matter. It's just so crazy because the synergy that these two have with the rest of their teammates, very, very good. They really play off of the energy of one another, the coordination, the everything in between for a team to actually really perform is always there when it comes to these guys. And I feel like it's because of the impact that they have that also uplifts the rest of the team and makes them perform a whole lot better. And just, go straight into our maps. Because when you're unafraid like Monyet and when you're ready to set up for the rest of your teams like Scary, then what's there to be afraid of for the teams over here? Well, as I mentioned that, the maps are going to be shown on our screen, but Trix, let's talk about the maps we won't be seeing. What do you think they are?
I feel like it really depends on what teams are bringing out, but I guess off the bat we will not be seeing Bind. I believe Bind is one of those maps I really like to watch, especially on Cercia's side, so a little sad on that end. I think coming into it, okay.
I was just going to say that I
yeah.
wanted to see Split, but it's not going to happen, Trix.
Okay, so no bind and no split. I'm guessing these two teams don't exactly like those close corners as Onyx is picking up Breeze, wanting that larger map, forcing those duels. I know that Onyx is able to take that information. They're able to take those pivotal points in the map and they're not afraid to push those areas that we like to talk about so often on this panel. And Cercia actually picking the attacker side on that.
Are we going to be seeing another Fracture map on the side of Cercia? I wonder. I mean, if Onyx does not ban Fracture, and it's up to Cercia to decide. Okay, never mind. Fluffy, I am striking out over here. Why don't you take the lead for the maps?
Well, I'm a bit surprised for how it's going, but also I can see the reason behind it. Bind is not a map that Onyx has always been decent at. They've been decent at it, but it's not the greatest. For the other hand, for Cercia, it's always been a map that they can rely on here on the APAC stage. Split, not a favorite of either team. Breeze and Icebox, good aim maps, good for the control, and if you can really manage your resources and make it up just how calculated both of these teams are, it makes sense that they would want to go here. And with that, we have our final two bans, Fracture and Ascent. I'm kind of surprised that Onyx removed Fracture, considering the fact that they have played it very well. I mentioned a bit earlier how Monyet really does well, especially on the Neon for that map, but we won't be seeing that today as our last decider map for the day will be Haven.
I think that they saw the game earlier and they were like, wait a second, I know that we're really good at Fracture, but hey, Cercia's stepping it up. This is a little bit scary. I think it's best for us to not be caught off guard, Tricks, and let's just avoid Fracture altogether. Or, maybe we'll end up on Ascent or Haven, some maps that we're kind of more used to.
I do like the picks that are coming out. We've got Breeze, it's a more horizontal map. It's very wide. There's a lot of angles, a lot of places to take. Then you got Icebox, which is more of that vertical map. And then you have Haven, which has the three spike plant areas.
Sites?
The 3 sites. Yes, thank you. My brain is a little, on the loading screen. But yes, I think that all of these maps are really highlighting team play as well. We've got Onyx G that likes that structure, those calculated plays, the ability to take information away from the opponents. We have Cercia on the other hand, who also likes to go for those advantage, for those peaks, and they know how to slow it down. They do have that tendency to be a little stubborn in terms of what plays they're making, which can put them on the back foot when they get a little too stubborn and want to figure out how to make a play work for them. But we're going to see what they're going to bring for us.
Well, we're going to see that indeed. But before we even get to that point, I want to know what do you think the win condition is over here? Let's start with you, Fluffy. And who do you think is going to be getting that win condition?
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like between both of these teams, just knowing their playstyle and their team identity, being so careful, we've seen it do wonders, but also hurt teams in the past. Sersha especially has this habit of sometimes being a bit too careful, but in a way, it kind of mirrors how Onyx does the same thing as well. So for me, it's gonna be the win condition will be which team is willing to risk more to get more rewards and reap those rewards for their team. Whichever one is the more proactive one, in my opinion, instead of reactive, will probably be the one who will win. And especially on maps like Breeze and Icebox to start off with, these are two maps where being proactive, getting the first step, and having the priority on site or off site are things that really do matter, especially when it comes to the gunfights.
I love how you brought that up. We're looking for a more proactive team, but also the way you contrast these two teams. One is very careful. On the other hand, the other one is also very careful, but they're also, like I mentioned earlier, very good at punishing the mistakes of the enemy. So how are you gonna punish a very careful team? Because it's gonna be very hard for these two, and that's what's gonna happen. I feel like a lot of passive plays will be happening, especially on Breeze. But again, we've talked about this over and over again. Proactiveness does get rewarded. More map control does get rewarded. So we're going to find out whether either of these teams will actually figure that out early on and be the more aggressive one as we go on. But in my prediction, I do think that Cercia Esports is going to be the one that figures it out first.
What do you think, Chicks?
Well, I think Laika and I are on the same page. I mean, I'm sorry, Sersha, that I doubted you earlier, but I'm so glad that you pulled through and that you are here because I love watching the team play. I love the way that, those split decisions that they make. And I think when you play against another careful team, the other win condition is who's willing to take that extra step. And I think that Sersha has shown us that they can take that extra step. And that they can also identify when they're being too patient and being too cautious, and when there's a need to change the way they're playing. I just do hope that they figured it out earlier against Onyx.
And lastly, I think I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go for Onyx G for this one because I mainly look for consistency when I look into teams. And aside from their loss from Team Secret, Onyx G still has that streak going where they've basically been playing the same way. Unfortunately, it didn't work out once. But when I look at a team like Sersha, they have a weird form of consistency, which is basically either they win the map by a landslide or it goes the other way. And I think that if I'm going to go for a safe prediction, Onyx G would be the one for me.
Oh, you talk about taking risks, Fluffy, but you're not ready to take the risks for us. Come on, go to the other
I gotta
side.
stay safe for this one.
Well, that's probably because your predictions aren't exactly stellar so far in terms of the record.
True.
But going into Breeze, I'm not exactly sure which of these teams has the more stellar record. All I know is that both of these teams have had good compositions over here on Breeze. But I guess in your eyes, there is no such thing as a bad composition after all. It's all in the way these players put these agents and these lineups to life. But I do think that Trix is already favoring one side over here.
I wouldn't say favoring necessarily, but I do like that Sky. I find it's very malleable. But KO, on the other hand, having that knife potential as well.
Yes, the KO knife potential over here, Fluffy. I know that you have your own opinions over here at Breeze, so let's hear it.
Well, I mean, we always talk about the value of the 0 point, and I have to agree with Trix in saying that if it does get value, especially on a map like Breeze where the controller is a Viper, when you get suppressed, unlike other controllers, your smokes and vision denial abilities are actually going to go down with it, so it can stop an entire push on its own, mindful that Viper will be the only controller for both sides. So that's one big advantage that I feel like is easily usable with a team with KO. But for the other hand, we have seen a lot of success with teams who play Sky. It's not a requirement to play KO at all. Sky does provide a bit more accurate information with the Trailblazer, and the guiding lights always have that frequent ping of knowing where they are, especially in a big map like Breeze. And having a flash through your own Viper wall for both teams is something that can be very impactful. So I don't necessarily think that there's one comp that's stronger than the other. It's a very small difference. It's more of how they use the tools that they're bringing into this game rather than what they're bringing into this game that really matters.
I'm looking at this, and obviously the really obvious discrepancy or like difference between these teams is actually the Sky and the KO, like you mentioned. So I guess going into this, you just have to choose whether you want to be powerless or perhaps blinded.
I mean, accurate, yes. And I think I'd rather be blinded sometimes.
I want to be blinded right now.
Aw, Fluffy, say you love my jokes.
It was a good joke, yeah. Yeah.
Thanks. I feel validated right now. But folks, you know who does need the validation? It's these teams right here. They need to validate that they are going to be able to qualify for Master. So they're going to have to fight to even get to that point right now. And as I say that, we're going to be going to map number 1 over here, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, it is Onyx G and Cercia Esports.
After grueling match a while ago mula sa side ng Cercia, lalaban na naman sila muli para sa kanilang buhay pagdating dito sa ating lower bracket. Sino nga ba ang makakalaban at makakatapat ng Team Secret bukas? Malalaman natin yan with the final series right now. Taylor at Honeyglaze nga pala ang magiging casters nyo for this final series of the day. Pero ito ang dalawang team na tinalo ng Team Secret. Ngayon maglalaban sila.
Parang talaga nangyayari na lang talaga dito, Taylor, is mag-audition yung mga following teams natin. Makatapat lang muli ang Team Secret. Again, this is Onyx G and Cercia. Onyx G and Cercia kanina talagang nakakapanibago yung mga plays na ginawa nila. Sobrang gipit ng mga nakita nating mga rounds. At talagang naging crucial yung do or die matches kasi nakatapat nila kanina.
Na-comeback pa nga nila yung Bleed, no? Kumbaga, Bleed Esports, kung na-close nila yung mga final rounds nila on game number 3 at hindi nag-overtime yon kanina, baka sila pa ang nandito ngayon. At syempre, with that comeback and a good play coming in from Cercia, they are down to their one more match here before sila makapagpahinga ng totoo para sa araw na ito at para makapaghanda na agad sila sa maagang match nila bukas kasi syempre nag-aantay na ang Team Secret. Pero umpisahan na natin yan with the pistol round right now. It seems like Monyet nakatingin ata siya sa may elbow ng Cave.
Oo, nadali siya kaagad dito. Ang mga pagkakataon na nag-rush na kaagad ng Cercia. So si Boys makakakuha na kaagad ng isa. Makakapasok na nga ba sila? That is the question. Pero ito na ngayon, kaagad sila aarap na sila dahil the smoke's already in. There's also the toxin screen. Kaya naman Sushi Boys makakabuelo na naman kay NC Slasher. Pero madadali lang din pala siya. Kaagad ngayon ng Shockers na umuulan sa kanila. 3v4 ang magiging laban ngayon, magiging doable. Pa rin ba ito for Onyx G as they are going for the retake na lang dito di Cercia?
Kita na nga rin nila yung positioning ni Shiro. Nahuli pa nga even with a very low HP si Fox Z. This is still a 2v2 situation. Rotation coming in from the 2 retakes mula dito sa players ng Onyx. Isa na lang ang poproblemahin nila. Wala nang lineup ata na pwedeng ilabas ang isang scary. Kaya naman tatapusin ito with a defuse coming in from Severin, making this a 1-0. It is gonna be on the side of Onyx after this defuse of the spike. At talagang ultimate farm orb. Importante bawat defuse. Importante bawat orb na makuha dito.
Onyx, kanina nagkaroon sila ng mahirap na naging confrontation against Cercia dahil nadali kaagad sila ng ilang mga miyembro doon sa loob ng site. Pagpasok dito ng Cercia. Pero little did Cercia know na kaya pala nila dito pagdating sa retake. They have expected who was ever all the way from double doors. Tapos nakuha nila kaagad dito yung mga possible lineups na gagawin sana ni Scary. Pero naubusan kaagad siya ng bala, ng dura para maka-counter na nga dito ang Onyx within the favorable moments na makakapag-retake na nga sila. 1-0 na, and we also have here the buys for the side of Onyx G. At meron pa silang dalawang Marshall dito for either the sides.
Aside from that, mukhang bumili on both sides of the team right now. So, Sersha also has the capability na tapatan nga yung mga barrel, gaya na nga rin ng sinasabi natin, para sa side ng Onyx. Gusto nilang gawing 1-1 to. Pero tingnan natin kung kagana. Kasi if that doesn't work out, it's just gonna be much more of a burden. Lalo na sa kamay ng Sersha. But this is probably one of their best maps out here. Lalo na sa VCT Asia Pacific. At ilang beses na rin natin silang nakita dito. Umpisahan na nga nila yan with an Aldrone in just a few minutes. Or a few seconds rather. This Aldrone wouldn't detect anybody dahil na-shutdown na rin agad ni Monyet. No scope. Tumama isang membro. Yun na nga si Sushi Boy. Sinilip na lang niya yung toxic screen na yan. Kaya naman madadown siya rito. Scary already getting a kill and Cruz as well. Tatlo laban sa tatlo. Meron tayo. They are all on site and swarming around them. Eh, syempre, yung mga players ng Onyx G, isa-isang tumutumba on both sides of the team. It's still a 2v2. But as the toxic screen comes up, makaka-reposition yung mga players dito na nitira on the side of Sersha. Ang kaso nga lang, masasalo dito ang bullets. On the other hand, a very low HP na rin si Scary. And this is gonna be another round secured para sa side ng Onyx. At sinabi ko nga kanina, Honey Glaze, if Sersha doesn't get it, they're gonna have a tougher time going forward.
And they did have a tougher time. It was almost a close round para sa kanila makuha yung advantage between their numbers. Maipuwersa nila ito for a 2v2. Pero ano ang nangyari? Wise usage of utilities. Ang dami natagpuan ng Recon Bolt na yun. At ito ang naging reason kung bakit nakapag-push forward dito ng Spasho, sina Severin, and there's also that Soba to remain onto that other side ng ating mga pyramids ngayon. And now, 2-0, we have here the buys for Onyx G, but unfortunately for Sersha, Sheriffs lang muna ang mapanghahawakan nila.
Sushi Boys are also with the Marshall right here. So, tignan natin kung makaka-capitalize nila yung mga guns na meron sila kahit papano. Making a pick-off count here in the hands of Sersha is very essential for the team to succeed in this round. Ang kaso nga lang, napakatahimik ng buong mapa because Onyx is not peeking at all aside from the necessary movements here. Si NC Slasher lang ang nakapalibot sa may pyramid habang yung iba nasa may stairs at nasa may bridge na rin. Hindi pa rin nakakapasok ang Sersha right now at kailangan nilang gawa ng paraan to. Starting off with just a shock dart right around the corner.
Oh no, Scary dito. He had the advantage na nakakapag-lurk na nga siya ng bagya dito against his members of Onyx G. Pero expected na pala siya kaagad ni Limamore. We also have here Sushi Boys to destroy and Monyet's capabilities to hold on to the site. But the problem is, mas makakabuelo na ngayon inside ang players ng Sersha. And si Slasher for the trade-off, Sir naman dito para makakuha ng ganti. 2 members na lang remaining ngayon. Standing for Onyx G. And what is already happening? Para silang nasa landslide theater dahil they were only facing the Sheriffs na hinahawakan ngayon ng Sersha at nakapag-commit pa sa loob ng site. Magkukulit ka na bagya dito kaagad yung mga Sheriff na maibibigay nila Surf. And unfortunately dito for Onyx G, they have got all of the Vandals from that previous round but unfortunately, hindi pa rin sila nagwagi.
Kakatakot yung Headhunter. Di makasilip yung ibang mga members dito ng Onyx. Parang takot na takot silang tapatan yung Headhunter. Knowing na sila naman yung may kalamangan pagdating sa mga baril na meron tayo. Nakuha pa rin ang Sersha itong round na to despite the eco disadvantage. And right now, syempre, makakabili pa rin ang Sersha. Parang wala lang nangyari on the previous round. Parang naging normal ang lahat. We are still back here with a 2-1 score and nothing much to do when it comes to the economy. It's still pretty normal on both sides of the team. Surf on the other hand, mukhang meron nata silang masaspatan dito. Eldemore takes the first kill out and syempre, mapaparandevous na lang din siya agad-agad.
Butit naka-pick off na siya nakaagad dito ng isa at buti na lang din at nag-decide siyang umexit na muna bago pa siya mabueluhan dito ng ganti ng Sersha. We have now here 1 member down for the attacking team. So ngayon, ang magiging question dito, kung makakapasok na ba sila ng site. We have so much time for them to get inside pero ang madami ring oras dito for Onyx G Terror since pwede na silang ma-sandwich dito. Look at the minimap right now. We also have your Monyet. Samahan mo pa dito nila Lemimore and Shiro to secure in mid, but this is only the problem. We just have here the utilities na meron dito ang Sersha to get attention and one side or another. Tapos ngayon, unti-unti naman sila makakaikot, but this time around, NC Slasher, unfortunately sa kanya, classic lang ang mapanghawakan, but will it be enough? Lalo na't patungunan ng double burst dito, Sersha.
30 seconds left.
Oh.
Revealing area.
Nakapitas ng isa si Cross. Ang kaso nga lang, nasagot din naman siya agad-agad. 3v2 situation. Pasensya na, nakamute pala ako kanina as Foxy was able to take on a kill. That's gonna be NC Slasher. Still a 3v1. Up to 7 in to do this retake. Hindi nga lang mangyayari yan dahil matatapos din ang lahat as Sushi Boys was able to kill him off.
What a retake or what a play for Sersha. Especially din nagambala nila kaagad ang ekonomiya dito. Inahabol na nga ngayon ng Onyx G laban sa kanila. We have your players all the way from mid na nakakapag-hold from the side of Onyx G. Pero ano ang nangyari? Nagambala lang sila dito. So wise usage of Recon. Na-spot in nila kung sino ba yan nandito na nga in double doors. Nakapasok dito si Monyet or rather nakapasok na dito si Sushi Boys. There's also the follow-up of Crows. Kaya nahirapan na mag-hold ang Onyx team. Pero bigyan pa rin naman natin sila ng benefit of the doubt. Meron na silang vice ngayon. Unfortunately, we have now here the trade-offs. One member down each. Pero ngayon, ipit pa rin naman. Players from Sersha all the way from elbow.
Scary. Tamang abang lang din on mid. Habang ganun din naman yung ibang positioning ng Onyx players dito. Saktong defend lang din ng mga entry points. Lalo na itong mga movement ni Cross. It just gives the info around on the side of Sersha that there probably might be someone on mid. Pero may nakaset up na trap dyan, kaya bukas na bukas. Aside from that, nakahawak na rin ang angle dito. Yung dalawa na nasa B. Ginamit ang Seekers on the side of Sersha. There's no one here on mid to accept any utilities at all. But this Seekers will find one na nasa mid lang din. That's gonna be NC Slasher na pinaulanan ng bala. That's gonna be a wall bang as well. And this would be another A hit on the side of Sersha.
Cut by timing siya dun, Terror. Lalabas na sana yung molly niya dito to hold off members from Sersha from trying to get inside of double door zone, trying to get inside of A. But unfortunately, one tap to the head lang kailangan dito na Scary. Scary at he is. One member down already for Onyx G. Make it 2 kung makakakuha ba ng magandang duelo dito si Fox. But unfortunately, magpapagi naman si Shiro pero bulaga naman sa'yo. Mali na lang din ang ginawa mo dito. Ang pagiging kampante na makapag-rotate all the way from backside. But unfortunately, again, for Onyx G, isa na lang siyang natitira. It's all up to Severin, pero wala na rin siya magagawa pa dahil nga Viper's Pit kailangan na kailangan yan mamaya.
Nothing much to do here pagdating kay Severin but to wait it out until the spike detonates. Pero ngayon, nagsisimula na ang meeting. Habang maaga pa, nagpiping na dito yung si Viper, si Severin, tinuturuan niya na yung mga teammates niya. Nakita na natin kahit sa player cam mismo na tinuturo niya na kung ano yung mga angulo na titignan at sisilipin nila dito. Si Elmemore, hindi rin siya nakakuha or hindi siya nakapag-rendezvous. Na-timingan na rin siya nung pagpasok ng ibang members. At para sa side ng Onyx, syempre, lumalaki ang gap all throughout. Isa pa lang naman yung rounds na nakikita natin dito, but obviously, the economy has been damaged.
Hirap na tuloy dito ang Onyx G, lalo na they still don't have enough ultimate for Monyet, ultimate orbs here for Monyet para makuha niya na nga yung kanyang Blade Storm. And this time, walang makakahawak muna sa patalim. But Lemimore dito, ako nang bahala sa'yo, tol. Headhunter lang naman makakatapat dito ni Sushi Boys. Severin dito won't be doing so much of an advantage against Surf. That is another member down. Pero Monyet dito, nako, makakabuelo na nga lang din. One more orb for this guy. At meron na kaagad silang mga patalim. But now, it's still all in favor of the numbers dito ng Onyx G. Even though, nakulang sila ngayon sa firepower.
Alam nila, there's gonna be someone on the right side of Pyramids. Kailangan makatawid ng isang player rito. It's gonna be Monyet on that corner. Hindi pa rin siya nakakaalis. Wala na rin siyang dash or tailwind na pwedeng gamitin, kaya rin hindi siya makalabas sa positioning na yan. And the good thing here, at good news para kay Monyet, hindi papasok, hindi magiging A-hit to. I feel like it is gonna be a big hit for the players of Sersha, the last 3 remaining right now dahil yung rotations nila. And doon na nga papunta, no? It's either gonna be a
30 seconds
mid
left.
to B or a mid to A. It all depends and it all boils down kung saan sila makakahanap ng pick-off muna.
Kaso patibong ito kung papasok sila ng A, rabbit hole. Kung sakali man ang patapat nila kaagad dito sila Monyet, ang magiging problema na lang nila dito is the numbers advantage, but they still have the firepower dahil dalawa na kaagad na sa bag. Make it to 2v2 this time, but they are playing it 4 times. They are already inside of C or B, pero makakapag-plant in na kaagad sila the spike. Oh my gosh, this is a good play, especially for the side of Sersha, dahil sobrang nail-biter yung pagpasok nila inside of the site. At ngayon, hanapan portion ang gagawin ngayon nila Shiro and NC Slasher, but will they be able to do it so? Dahil crossfire ang pwedeng i-secure dito ng Sersha. Serve dito, ang makakakuha na nga ng isa Hunter Fury. Unfortunately, hindi na nga siya makakabuelo pa. Pero makakapag tintero na nga dito. Ang isa pang natitira, but unfortunately, parehas silang nagkatirahan na. What a game! What a trade-off with the Hunter Fury at nagtaga mo pa ng Shock Dart.
Isang cancel lang sa ultimate nun. Literal, tatama yung shock dart at hindi mamamatay yung isa. It was anyone's game, but in the end, the Hunter's Fury connected on the side here of Foxy. Kung naiwasan yun, manalagot siya dito eh, kahit pa paano, pero umamba ng shock dart. Tumama naman, ang kaso nga lang, hindi lang pasok sa timing, no? So, for Sersha, it is another round. 4-2 ang score natin ngayon. At syempre, tour de force in action in the hands of Surf as they try or as he try to also command in pagdating sa mga buy ng players ng Sersha. Pero for Onyx G, this time, full buy na rin naman sila.
Kompleto recados ika nga nila, pero Surf dito kailangan na nga lang din mag-ingat pa. Dahil madedect detection siya ngayon ng Aldrone, there is a chance na mag-wise swing na nga dito, players from the side of Onyx G. Kaya naman ngayon, ang dami pag-overtake yung ginagawa niya. O na-anxious siya kung may papasok at may magpipick ba. All the way from double doors. At yun na nga yung pwedeng mangyari. We still have the smokes, yes. Pero magiging ipit naman ngayon ng Sersha to get inside of the side. Lahat sila ngayon nasa mid.
The good thing about controlling mid is that you can decide whether if you still wanna go A or B, hindi ganun kalaki yung magiging rotations na makikita nyo. Tsaka, dito kasi may natitira talagang isa, may naiiwan na isa. Kung napapansin nyo kanina, it's Fox Z actually trying to control kung ano yung magiging rotations ng Onyx G. Kung sakasakali man dumaan ulit sila ng mid. Kasi nga, na-take na nila eh. But anyway, this is another mid to A hit para sa kanila. Sushi Boys getting the first kill already. There's gonna be 2 players behind. And this is gonna be all down. And still Onyx G fighting for their lives right now. 5v2 situation. Na-plant na rin ang spike dito on the side of Sersha. Now they're planning on the post-plant positions.
I'm planning on taking Sushi D for dinner tonight. Dahil sobrang sarap na mga nagiging plays dito ni Sushi Boys just to gather up themselves a site. Nakuha niya yung space, pero makukuha niya pa rin yung mga pick-off dito against Onyx G na nag-hold all the way from the back at yung mga nandun pa inside na madedetect pa nga ng Maricon even though may cloud burst na meron nga dito mahahawakan si Monyet. Ang magiging problema na dito is alam naman dito ng Sersha kung paano siya kakounterin. We have now here a 5-2 scoreline dahil wala na ring time talagang gagawin dito ang Onyx G to defuse and to try and take in that site dahil wala na rin dito mahirap na maging play against the side of Sentinel. Numbers are just in favor of them. Pero look at the exit frags na nagkakaroon na lang din ng diskusyon dito all the way from B. Pero unfortunately dito for Onyx G, hindi sila makakapag-save.
In the end, mahuhuli at mahuhuli rin pala yung dalawang remaining players. Sana nilaban na lang nila yung ganap doon kesa for the exit frags. Kaso nga lang talaga malayo rin kasi sila. And this decision, syempre, for Sersha's side to actually push around, marami kasi silang pera, so they don't even mind if some of the players die as long as they can punish ultimately itong economy ng Onyx G dahil secured naman na rin yung round dahil patapos na rin yung pagsabog ng spike doon. Ngayon, eco disadvantage na naman ng Onyx. Hindi pa rin nila mahanap yung mga rounds na hinahanap nila aside from that first 2. It just seems so hard to control mid for them.
Exactly. Eto na lang, doon na lang lagi din nagwawagi dito ang Sersha. Nung natagpuan nila yung reason kung bakit hindi makapag-hold dito ng maigi Onyx G and mid, doon na nila patuloy na pinapenetrate through. May it be mid to B, may it be going into A naman dito from double doors. Hindi naman nakakabuelo dito ng maayos ang Onyx dahil may isa ring na ditong nakapag-lurk na inside of cave. So, very unfortunate dito for Onyx G. Na-punish na naman sila for an eco.
And I think ang magiging hero by dito is gonna be Elmemore. Knowing na isang orb na lang naman din kapag namatay siya, he's gonna have the ultimate later on for the next round. Kaya nothing to worry for the side of Elmemore. Basta sa kanya, meron siyang Vandal. Tingnan natin kung makapitalize niya. Yan ang magiging problema dito for Onyx side. Dahil alam niyo naman, pagipit sa patalim kumakapit. Kaya rin naman naka-Blade Storm na rin ang isang player nila dito, which is Monyet. X10 opens up the site completely. They were able to plant the spike. Outrun muna para sa side ng Onyx para silipin kung sino ang nandun. Pero si Scary pa rin ang makakakuha ng kill. Foxy doing that crossfire, the double peek. Wala naman sa Sersha, ang gagana pa rin. But Severin was right around the corner to secure the kill for himself. 2v2 situation right now. Na-plant na ang spike. It's up to the pressure on Onyx G side kung paano nila i-make to. As we see, Elmemore going down already. It's up to one more player. Severin na nasa B main. Alam na rin nila ang positioning dito with the jump peaks that the Sersha guys are doing. One down para sa kanila. 1v1. Pwede bang mangyari? And kaso nga lang, kailangan niyang hanapin dito ang last remaining player. It's gonna be Crows. Still around for Sersha.
What a round incredibly plain here for Sersha. Dahil hindi man lang dito makakuha ng magandang footing ang Onyx G. But they were able to close it out to a 2v2 situation na hindi na dapat nangyari pa yung mga naging confrontation nila all the way from elbow dahil nga meron dong toxic screen. There's also the snake bite. Naging vulnerable dito, sobra-sobra si Monyet kaya hindi siya nakakuha ng kill. With his over-aggressiveness, napapaan siya ngayon na Sersha kaya hindi natin siya nakikita na nakakapag-pop off na, nakakakuha pa ng magandang kill scores dahil ngayon ang KDA niya, unfortunately, is 1-8 and now, this just gives a lot of morale for Sersha to get inside of the site, dominate in the players of Onyx G. But will they be able to? Dahil ngayon, medyo bahagya silang naiipit dito all the way from cave.
Ginamit na rin pala yung Viper Spit on the side of Onyx G. So, an A hit right now may be less probable but Monyet not connecting the shots can be a problem para sa side ng Onyx G. Pero hawak pa rin naman nila ang mid. Ang kaso nga lang, si Cross gumagapang na rin pala on elbow. Isang pwede niya maspatan dito. That's gonna be Shiro going down. But they are not quite aware kung nasan nga ba nakapwesto si Monyet right now. Pwede pa niya mahuli yung mga nag-rotate, especially dito sa elbow. Ang kaso nga lang, syempre, utility usage for Sersha just to make sure.
This is why you want to have Crows na naglo-lurk na nga lang din dito in the composition na meron tayo ngayon in Sersha. Dahil once na makakuha siya ng early pick-off against the defender-sided team, makakakuha naman siya ng info with just the guiding lights. At yun mismo yung ginawa niya para mag-reposition immediately si Monyet at hindi na makapag-commit pa further. Now, Sushi Boys goes in for 1. Ngayon, magagambala na ngayon si Lemimore na makakuha ng... Pero 1 bullet lang din ang kailangan niya dito to make it 2. Overwhelming impact against Sersha. They are already inside the side, but will they be able to commit any much further? And they will. Certainly makakakuha ng isa out there. Will they be having enough time para makapag-plant? And they will, I think. Dahil may isa pang segundo dito para makapag-plant na nga na spike dito. Sushi Boy is still alive. 7 na lang dito ang natitira. Magagalit pa siya sa bandang gitna.
Severin is just gonna save the operator instead. Hindi nila nakapitalize masyado yung operator ni Monyet. First of all, naka-wall up yung Viper doon. Wala siyang masilip kahit isa. And the players right now for Sersha, they know not to go and cross out the wall if not necessary. And ganun exactly yung nangyari. Shutdown from left to right ang pinakita ng Sersha dito. And it's still another round for them. It's gonna be a 7-2 scoreline after this. But at least, na-save nila yung operator. Tunay na save na this time.
Exactly. Ito na lang din ang kailangan niyang gawin dito dahil very unfortunate itong breeze map na ito. Pinili man nila pero hindi ito ang magiging pabor sa kanila. Sersha, they're just really getting in so much momentum inside of mid na nahihirapan na nga ditong makabuelo ang Onyx G to counter out those aggressive players na kukuha na nga lang din ng info, kukuha pa ng mga giging pick-off. Although maganda yung naging hold na nga dito ni Lemimore, ang naging problem lang is meron na kasi nang galing pa sa nest, meron pa nang galing in mid, kaya wala na talaga siya magiging takas pa even though na may rendezvous siya. And now, another punishment sa kanila ngayon, Terror. They're just holding on to their sheriffs, and will they do something about this para makakuha na ng well to at least push this to a 7-5 scoreline?
Maagang aggression na nakikita natin from Elmemore. He might be able to spot the sky here, but it seems like Sursa, they wanna take A. Binasag na nga yung Trailblazer. And Crows is quite aware kung ano yung positioning ng isang player dito at alam niya rin na operator ang gamit niyan. So SC Slasher, this might be the perfect timing na iba to yung knife na yan. Kaya papasok na nga yun dito. Ang kaso nga lang na-detect din siya ng drone. Kaya rin mapapatay rin siya. And the end, it's still a 3v2 situation right now. More with an operator still. He has to rotate all the way to A and he has to make it work. Ang kaso nga lang si Shiro wala rin namang baril. One down para sa kanila as Elmemore finds one. That's gonna be Crows out finally. Kanina pa sila naglalaban sa may elbow. Nagawa na rin nila.
Nakaganti na siya finally, pero ito buti na lang nakaramdam kaagad si Shiro. Buti na lang nag-hold siya kaagad sa shift.
Lumaline
Nagbabantay man dito si Foxy, pero
RID!
lumaline na pa nga siya. Hindi na nga siya makakaligtas pa. Pero although yung naman dito is Foxy, makakakuha pa nga rin naman ng pick-off. Nakapag-line up man dito, pero meron na sila lang Hunter's Fury. Mga-half niya, pero makakapag-cha-cha. Oh no, no time intended for him.
Oh, this is gonna be a defuse.
But the problem is, oh my God! That quick scope that he did to watch this round out with 30 HP. Makukuha niya pa yung 3-7. Taylor, that was an eco round for Onyx G.
Round secured. What a play coming in from that chamber. Isipin mo, yung operator, ang tagal ilabas niyan, especially kapag una yung knife mo. At syempre, yung isa na ready na sana sa lineup, hindi rin naman nabantayan ni Fox Z. In the end, the shots from Elmemore will still connect and he was able to save that round para sa side ng Onyx G. 7-3. Muntikan pa. Muntikan ang maging 8-3 ang score.
8-3. Oo nga, hirap sila dun Lalo na't may bala at may pwersa kasi dito ang Sersha. Kanina, Sheriffs ang napanghawakan nila, and ngayon, Onyx G, with that round na napanalo nila, they have enough economy to begin with and force themselves so much buys on their side. But the problem is, ang dami pa nilang kailangan na bullet terror. It's 3-7 still in favor of Sersha. And Sersha, speaking of, kalat na naman sila sa loob ng mapa. It's either it's going to be mid para mabigla na naman nila dito yung puwersa against Onyx G or talagang irarush nila inside of the site. Dahil wala nang kumukulit. Monyet dito, natuto na. Sa loob na lang daw muna siya mag-wait para dito sa mga members from the attack.
Uy, may tumuwid. Di nakuha ni Sushi Boys yung kill, pero alam niya yung info kahit papaano. But like I said, this map was actually a pick by Onyx. Pero Sersha, this is quite a strong map for them. Hindi nakakita si Surf sa may corner, kaya rin siya makakakuha ng kill. That's gonna be one man down on the side of Onyx G. Crows is already clearing B side here. We're using up the Trailblazer. Alam niya rin na may trap sa Ged. Kaya naman po problemahin ngayon niya ng ibang members ng Sersha. Si Sushi Boys papasok lang din with a Blade Storm wide swing. Severin was able to take one kill out. This is still a 3v2 situation. Tamang blind lang din mula kay Crows, knowing that info from that one player from Onyx G. But on the other end, si NC Slasher nasa loob lang din ng site. Nagtatago lang sa may B-wall. Baka sakaling makatama. Pero ito nga, ang wall na kailangan niyang problemahin. He was planning a pop flash, but obviously wala siyang magiging katulong. On the left side, it's gonna be the last player right here. And it's Carry's kill. 8-3 ang magiging score.
Last round before the switch.
Pinabantayan ko nga lang din dito yung minimap kanina pa. Na umikot pa talaga ang layo na nilakbay dito ng sky nila para makakuha ng pantatalikod, ng pang-atake sa mga nakatalikod na players dito from the side of Onyx. Pero hindi na pala nila kailangan ito. It's all up to Scary to deny all those odds, trying to be in favor of Onyx, even though na meron silang mga buys. Talaga yung mga nagiging slow plays dito ng Sersha, yung patibong ng ginagawa nila against Onyx G para mahirapan kung ano bang pwersa ang gagamitin nila. But now, mukhang ito na naman patibong ng Sersha. Sige, mag-push kayo mula sa site. Surf gets in one. At ang problema pa nito, Taylor, is controller pa nila ang wala sa mapa.
They're quite aware na kapag ang isang team ay naka-eco disadvantage, they might go aggressively. At yun na nga exactly ang ine-expect ng Sersha. They got that first kill in without any sweat. And Elmemore was ready to answer back with that indirect trade kahit papano. This knife will probably detect some of the players here. Pero si Elmemore, masasalo niya ang bala ni Surf habang nag-aantay si Geddy Simoniet. Busy naman dito on A main. Tamang orb lang din si Foxy pero nahuli na yung mga kampi niya. One man down and yet again for Sersha's side. Kanina, from a 5v4, we are now down to a 3v1. Gusto pa, oh.
Kanina pumapabor pa sa Sersha. Nakakuha sila ng isa, nakabuelo sila ng patay, pero the problem is, isa na lang kaagad silang natitira dahil lahat ng mga naging duels dito ay kinamit na nga nila all the way from A. Pero buti na lang at meron pa dito Viper's Pit. This is still doable dahil alam natin ang capabilities na makapag-clutch ni Scary with just that Viper's Pit. And now, oh my gosh, nakat may timing dito si NC Slasher, but unfortunately, nalikuran din naman siya dito ni Monyet. Grabe yung round na yun, especially for Scary. Dahil muntikan pa eh, pwede pa yun sa kanya.
I mean, it was a good plan. It was a good round still for Sersha's side. Kahit ganun yung nangyari, it's still an 8-4. So sila pa rin naman yung lamang dito. But, on another note, sayang yung space created na. They really used up the Viper's Pit, knowing na last round naman na rin. So why not? The space was created, it was there. Ang kaso nga lang, hindi rin talaga nakuha yung nasa likuran. It was inevitable for the side of Sersha to make a play right around the corner there. Kaya halftime pause muna tayo dito. Para sa Onyx G, hindi na ganun kasama tong half na to.
Makuha lang nila dito potentially yung first Pesora and yung mga susunod na mga plays and yung mga buys against Sersha po, pwede pa sila makahabol to an 8-8 scoreline. But I just wanna say na mahihirapan sila dito sa lineup pa lang mismo ng players natin ngayon for Sersha. But buti na lang din talaga at meron silang NC Slasher. NC Slasher dito potentially can still destroy in someone from holding inside the site dahil may pang-suppress ang kanyang mga utility dito. After niya makakuha ng info, there will be an opportunity for Monyet na makapasok ng site. This is the time. Taylor, this is really just the time for Monyet and NC Slasher para makapag-comeback at para makapag-pop off na for this first half. Or the second half rather.
Medyo nahihirapan din makahanap ng spacing si Monyet dito eh. But knowing na syempre, magsaswap din naman tayo ng sides at siya ang duelist for the side of Onyx. Sana makakreate siya ng space for the rest of the team. Alam naman natin na ang duelist, ang role niya ay mag-open up ng site para makapasok yung ibang mga players. But obviously, if you get a frag with that, kahit papano, mababawasan na yung sakit sa ulo ng remaining members mo para hanapin pa yung mga natitira. But so far, alam naman natin, yung Sersha, baka mamaya napagod din sila sa match nila kanina kasi medyo mainit din yun. Tatlong games, tas may overtime.
Iba yun? Nakakatakot yun, Taylor, kasi ang lupit ng naging comeback nila against Bleed. I think, nung mga nahuli, kung naalala ko pang mga rounds na ay umabot tayo ng 7-12. Tapos continuous na nanalo yung yung Sersha against Bleed. It's really just overwhelming. Kaya ngayon, panalangin ng Onyx G na napagod na ang Sersha. They have the potential dito sa second half natin ngayon since they are the ones attacking. They can go rampage inside the sites, take advantage of their suppress with NC Slasher, pero they need to be wise kung ano ba yung pupuntahan nila ngayon. Tatahakin na ruta against the side of Sersha dahil nakapwede na dito sa cross para makakuha ng pwersa.
Huli agad. Severin with the shot right there. Hindi kumunek yung headhunter from Elmemore kaya mamubuhay pa rin yung tumatawid. May isang nag-aabang, buti na lang na rendezvous na rin naman para sa positioning na yan. Ang kaso nga lang Monyet, creating space here. He gets one, but he knows right around the corner on the back end ay nag-aantay si Sushi Boys. Ang ganda ng positioning niya dito. Ang kaso nga lang naubusan ng bala. Sushi Boys still making his play right here on B site right now. Hindi pa rin nakakapag-plant ng spike ang Onyx. 5 HP na lang si Sushi Boys laban sa dalawang players na natitira on Onyx side. Kailangan niya munang hanapin kung saan ba yung isa. Alam niya na nagplant si Severin dito, pero nasan nga ba yung isa pa? Ayun na nga ang nahuli. Si Elmemore ang makakapatay. It's still around for Onyx at syempre, makakabili sila for this.
Good round, especially for Onyx, na kailangan nila ito. We have here the replay kung saan nahirapan nga dito ang Sersha to
Tagal,
pull things
bago
off.
ma-shutdown. Nakatatlo pa siya dun.
Ilan din yun? Sushi Boys, grabe yun. Basta't makuha niya lang yung advantage na nandun pa rin siya sa site, nakakapag-hold pa siya at hindi siya mapweluhan kaagad dito ng Onyx G. Talagang makakakuha siya ng pwersa. It was the numbers in favor of them, pero unfortunately, yung final moment ay naging pabot pa nga for Onyx G. Mababaluan dito na free fire si Sushi Boys though. He needs to back away, pero nakapag-push na pala dito si Scary din. So, this is a rabbit hole kung sakaling i-push man ito ng Onyx G going into halls.
Medyo masakit yung damage na natanggap doon. Kaya naman mapapaatras ng yung mga players sa halls kanina. But heading here, Surf just waiting for that perfect opportunity to connect the shot. Pagdating sa kanyang headhunter, 2 pops na lang ang natitira dito. Pero para sa Marshall, marami-rami pa yan. Sushi Boys misses the shot again. Kaya tamang reset lang din for the players of Sersha. Kahit na Onyx ang may kalamangan when it comes to the guns, hindi pa rin nila binibigay. Nagpi-play for picks pa rin sila dito. And still, for Onyx, not much of a movement aside from the players na nagde-decide na mag-rotate. This is probably gonna be an A hit. Kailangan lang makakreate ng space pero nasa kaliwa si Scary. Tamang trigger discipline lang din to make sure, pero binuksan na nga ang pintuan. Hindi pa rin nakakapasok ang iba. Tamang dash in lang for Munyet. Will he be able to get a kill? Kahit na walang scope, napatay pa rin yung Rico na yan. Kaya naghahanap na rin dito ang mga players. Munyet sees one. He was able to get a kill, but Scary was more prepared as well to take on the next. Pero si Severin, gumapang na rin on halls. Tatlo laban sa dalawa ang natitira ngayon. Flash out mula sa KO. Pero hindi pa rin napaplantang spike. 10 seconds remaining, pero isa na lang. At hindi pa rin napaplantang spike. 6 seconds remaining right now to plant the spike, and they finally did it. Severin to take on the shot, and Shiro to secure the kill para sa round ng Onyx G. Muntikan pa yun.
Muntik na muntik pa nga yun. I was already on the edge of my seat, but unfortunately for Sersha, hindi pa rin pala talaga sapat ang pwersa. Nabalikan natin kanina kung gaano ba kalupet yung mga pag-hold nila in their angles, yung pag-abang nila inside the sides. They have the advantage to get in that pick-off immediately kina Sushi Boys. But the problem with Sushi Boys kasi dito nataranta na siya. After using in every free fire na meron siya dito with his Marshall, parang na-disrupt din yung composure niya dito na ang dami niyang binigay na free fire at kailangan niya pang isipin dito yung recon. So now, at the very least, meron pa rin naman silang mga buys dito. They have what it takes to make a counter against Onyx G, but Onyx G dito, mukhang tatlo sa kanila may enough firepower to get inside.
5 players pa rin ang buhay sa kabilang team na meron tayo dito. Foxy receiving a little bit of damage when it comes to the Vandal pagdating sa may halls. But obviously, they have to shut down this Aldro. Na-detect sila more. Papaatras lang siya saglit on the corner itself. But still, it's just a play for picks for Onyx G. Yun na nga ang hinahanap nilang pitas. That's gonna be Foxy out. Pero may iba pa silang problema. Bumukas ang pinto and they are quite aware na may lalabas at lalabas dyan. That's gonna be Crows going down as well. 5v3 situation para sa side ng Onyx. Malaki ang space nila to actually make a take happen here.
Boy na boy pa naman din dito si Munyet. Again, this is an eco round for Onyx G. They only have their Spectres. Yes, medyo gipit sila dito. Pero maganda yung mga naging buys pa dito ng Sersha. Ang nangyari lang is, nakabuelo lang din yung mga gumapang na nga dito inside of A. But now, this is a B-take. Makikita natin ngayon in our minimap that they're already inside of the site at wala sila ka-ID. And Scary is still alive! Nandito naman din yung pag-push ni Severin laban sa kanya. But Scary is still kicking. 15 HP left behind. Pero at least meron pa rin namang seconds remaining dito for Shiro to make things happen. It's down to a 2v1 situation, but it's all up to Sushi Boys to counter things out in favor of the momentum na binabasa na natin dito again for Onyx G. And ang naging problema nandito is nandun na rin naman na si Sushi Boys to clean things up against Onyx.
6-6. Nice ang magiging scoreline dito. Pero Sersha pa rin talaga ang lumalamang. Ang ganda ng angle na hinawakan ni Scary dahil lang din dun sa wall na sinetap niya, hindi siya napansin ng ibang players ng Onyx rito. And now, mahihirapan sila knowing na syempre, papunta na sa double digits yan. Elmore, he needs one more orb to make the tour de force online para sa kanya. Madali lang naman kuhanin yan. Probably gonna be on A main. At ito na nga ang tour de force. Nakuha niya na rin. Sushi Boys has the ultimate ready as well. So kahit papano, for Sersha's side, na susolve pa rin nila yung problema when it comes to the money if ever na magkaroon ng problema man. But so far, so good.
So far, so good. Para makakuha na nga ng advantage pa rin dito against Sersha. But the only problem lang din is the Viper's Pit. Nandito pa rin nakapwesto sina Monyet. But this time, will they be able to have the advantage against Sushi Boys? Dahil Sushi Boys dito makakabelo ka agad ng isa. Sabi niya dito, Jet Tip Boy! Makakatakas siya, makakaligtas. One member down already for Onyx and will they be still be getting inside of the site. Si Lemimore dito, he is holding on to hold. Wala siya makikita pero makatatagpuan lang din naman dito is yung trademark. But on the other hand, meron na rin naman ng gumagapang ditong players from Onyx pero expected na rin yata ito ni Foxy. We still have here the blinds. We have info already gathered pero nagapang sa kanila dito ni Foxy na hindi makakakuha ng isa. Pros naman dito for the trade. But unfortunately, hindi na ito makakalamang pa. There is also a wide opening for Sir to clean things out against NC Slasher. We are down to a 2v2 and they have already gathered in. Themselves of space created para sa ating retake nangyari dito for Sersha. But now, with the quickscope na ginawa dito ni Lemimore, he expected na meron na nga dito mag-crawl all the way from mid and now it's all up to Scary para takutin ang mga natitira pang players ngayon from Onyx team. But Shiro says no, 3K for this guy, 7 is to 9.
Unfortunately, hindi niya na naantay yung rotations ni Scary rin as well. Nauna na nga rin siyang mapitas and mapapabay-bye na lang din talaga yung mga players ng Sersha dito. Pati na rin na ito nga game naman na to. Kumbaga, kung sino manalo dito, natalo naman na rin ang Team Secret.